They're very lucky lads.
Yeah, good luck to them. Manchester United, as we said, top. They needed to win yesterday. They did win yesterday, but Aston Villa made them work hard for that win, didn't they?
Well, they certainly did. I seen Beckham's goal yesterday. I mean, that was unbelievable. I mean, he's away on the right-hand side.
That's the first, the own goal.
Yeah, the own goal. In fact, there was 2 own goals in that game because I think one of them came off Scholes as well. I think it was this one here. It was...
yeah, Joachim's claimed it.
Yeah,
but
Joachim went into a little near post there, but I think it hit off Scholes. But there's the free kick there. And I mean, that was... He keeps on doing these things regularly. It's a great competition, I think, and it was up until a week or 2 ago between...
Is that a penalty?
I thought it was very harsh, actually. I really thought it was harsh. I thought the player made the best of that, and fortunately enough he got it, but it was saved anyway, so it didn't matter too much, but it could have been devastating for Aston Villa.
Now, what do you make of Chelsea's challenge? Because if last weekend they go to Sheffield Wednesday and win, they're a point today behind the leaders. As it happens, they may be just too far back, but they might just live to rue last week's performance, bearing in mind they got the 3 points yesterday.
Yeah, I actually think Chelsea have done magnificently, Richard. You know, I think you can't do what Arsenal and Man United have done. They've been doing it for years. I mean, Chelsea have just come to the fore in the last 2 or 3 years, and they've made leaps in, you know, great forward play from them.
But the sort of competitor you are, if after last week you're in that dressing room listening to one of your own players say, we've blown it, we're out of it, when plainly that isn't the case, how do you respond to that?
I'd probably strangle him. I'd put one in his chin or something like that. We actually were very competitive ourselves, and we would not talk about defeat, and we would not talk about the game next week. We only talked about the game that was coming up that day. And I think they've got a lot going for them, but they do look occasionally a little bit fragile.
Do you think they've given it up mentally, and that's why they can't win it?
Well, I don't know. I mean, it's hard to say. They could turn around and maybe win the next couple of games, and they could put real pressure on Arsenal and Manchester United. But I think they have blown it, to be perfectly honest, Richard. I think they have blown it. But I think with Vialli as manager, I think they'll buy a couple of quality players next year, and they'll go even closer than they have done this year.
Let's look at the top of the Carling Premiership. A real chase we've got on here. 71 points Manchester United from 34 played. Plus 41, isn't it? 69 points for Arsenal from 34 played. Plus 39. So a 2-goal win today, and it's all square, but they've played a game more, the Gunners. Chelsea there in 3rd place, 68 from 35 played, and Leeds in 4th, 63 from 35 played. Interesting as well that they're talking again about UEFA possibly making it probable that we could have 4 in the Champions League if Manchester United win it, which would qualify Arsenal, Chelsea and Leeds, and then maybe 5th place would be good enough. But the fact we don't know the rules is frustrating enough. We'd just like all that sorted out, wouldn't we?
Certainly would, and I think David O'Leary, whose team is going like a runaway train, they're playing so fantastically well. It would be great to see them getting into Europe as well. I think the top 4 teams in the Premiership are as good as I've seen for a long, long time. I think below that there is a gap with the Aston Villas and the Derby Counties and the Tottenhams and everyone else, but I think the top 4 teams at the moment are magnificent sides, and they would represent England terrifically in Europe.
5 goals here against Wimbledon, 6 at the Riverside last week against Middlesbrough. Who are the 11, George Gavin, that Arsenal start with today? Come and join us.
Thanks, Richard. Hello, Frank.
Same gear on as well. Look.
Yeah, good to see you at the studio now. The sun is shining as well, finally. It's only taken till May, hasn't it? Interesting team news today. Dennis Bergkamp is only on the bench for Arsenal. Otherwise, they're unchanged from last week and the 6-1 thrashing of Middlesbrough. Jim Smith makes one change. Stefan Schnorr is injured. Roddy Delap comes in. This is Arsenal then. David Seaman's finger injury, playing for England, hasn't ruled him out today. Martin Keown is suspended. Steve Bold continues to deputise. It's the 4th time these teams have met this season, but it's the first time Derby have faced the might of Petit and Vieira in harness. Mark Overmars passed a late fitness test. Dennis Bergkamp failed to come through fully, so he's on the bench. Up front, Anelka and Carnu. Russell Holt is suspended for Derby, so Mart Poom is the man in the firing line. Stefan Schnorr is out, so Darryl Powell and Rory Delap are the wing-backs. Once again, 3 strikers selected by Jim Smith. Mikael Beck is yet to score in 3 games for Derby. Dion Burton is top scorer with 12, and Paolo Wanchop has 10. So it's Derby County next in line for the Gunners' shooting gallery. But Jim Smith insists his team won't be sitting ducks.
We've gone down there over the 3 years and just withdrew the first year. Lost 1-0 and in the cup this year just lost 1-0 in the last minute, and we changed our game plan. We played differently to what we would normally play, and in all fairness, it's been reasonably successful. You know, keeping the score down. That is, but we, you know, we will go in with a game plan. Obviously, we can't just go and turn up and try and outplay Arsenal. We'll be positive, but we won't be able to just outplay a team with such strength and quality of players.
It was last-minute Kanu winner, wasn't it? When you played really well in the Cup and could have got a better result that day.
Yeah, I mean, it's been our problem all season. I mean, in the first half, in the Cup tie, we had the better chances, and we should have, you know, maybe taken one, or certainly one, if not two. And that's been our story all year. We've started letting a few in, but we've never really hit the back of the net at the rate you've got to do to be really successful. And I mean, last Saturday against Southampton was a case in point. Second half, you know, we missed some great chances, and that's been one of the problems of the year, to be fair.
The season began so well for Derby. They were unbeaten until the end of September. They'd reached second in the table. Expectations had been raised, but prematurely.
Well, I don't think any one of us thought that being second after, I think, 7 games, well, it was 7 games, that would mean it would be challenging for the European Champions League. We've always had the ambition, really, to finish in the top 6. That was our target this year, the players' target. My target was to improve on the points total of last year. We still got a chance of doing that, but I think where the expectations were so great was for UEFA, to be fair, and that's been a big letdown since you know, a month ago we found out that the UEFA place wasn't possible in a league situation other than finishing 4th, and that's been a bit of a downer for us of late.
Derby's recent form has been patchy, and unusually they've been leaking goals. 13 have been conceded in their last 3 defeats.
It followed the same pattern as last year. You know, there was similar kind of results at the same time of the season, and I'm just wondering whether, you know, we are mentally strong enough to challenge right for the UEFA places, because we've done really well, and once we've got, you know, really clear, we seem to just got, you know, a relief, you know.
Jim Smith has established Derby in the Premiership, but not in the comfort zone.
People regard what we've done here as a bit of a miracle, actually, and when you look in what, 4 years from the first division at the baseball ground to you know, being in 3 years in the Premier League in reasonably comfortable circumstances and a new stadium, it's pretty good, but it's got to get better in so much that you can't think that's it, you know, because once you rest, particularly in the Premier League, you know, you rest on your laurels, you've got a problem, I think, because there's so many good teams, and every club is trying to improve every season. Next year is the most important year, the 4th year, because then if you can maintain what we've been doing, I think we can look round after 4 years in the Premier League, so, you know, we've made our mark. I think next year is a big year for us, and we need to make sure we get the right players in and maintain the progress, because, as I said, it might be easy for people to say, well, we're established, and, you know, you know, we've got nothing to fear. But I think, you know, the 4th year can just lull you into a false sense of security, and I just want to make sure that we're absolutely spot on, you know, for next year.
Jim Smith's close friend, Ron Atkinson, recently announced his retirement, but after more than 30 years, the bald eagle is still flying high.
Whatever you're enjoying the age doesn't come into it, you know. I mean, and I'm really enjoying it. So, I mean, I think that it'd be fair to say that if I weren't enjoying it, then you'd consider maybe retirement. But I enjoy it very, very much, and it's a great place to be. You know, Derby. I love Derby as a place. I love Derby County, and the relationship I have with the fans and the board, chairman, is as good as I've had anywhere, and we enjoy it. And as I say, whatever you're enjoying it, keep on. Next year at this time I might have changed my mind, but...
He's done a great job there as well, hasn't there? And there's the no small matter of £180,000 a place for finishing this year in the Premiership. So you've got to keep your eye on the ball. And you were just saying, Frank, watching that, the last 2 occasions they've come here, they've made life very difficult for the Gunners, haven't they?
I remember the last 2 games actually, Derby County have been very, very physical, very competitive, and it was a real bloodthirsty match here. And they don't give many goals away normally. They're a difficult side to beat. They've got the unusual one-shot up front, Burton, and they've got Beck as well now. So they've got some pacey players and some height up front. They will be difficult, but if Arsenal get an early goal, that could make them relax and really turn on the kind of football that they've been playing in the last few weeks.
Well, the studios are way over in the far corner there. Now, I'm going round the side because I don't walk on this turf. Are you going to risk it and go over the top?
I don't know if Steve Braddock will let me. I think I'll walk round with you, actually.
Come on, let's go. We are at the home of the champions. We are at Highbury, where, as you can see outside, it's a pleasant build to the rear, and there's a famous Highbury pub. If you're a Gunner, you'll know that very well. Simply the best, they say. Well, they certainly have been over the last couple of games. 11 goals. And after the break, the difference between this campaign and last will be joining Andy in our activity and tactical area. That's next on a Super Sunday. North London. Today we're at the home of the champions, just down the road. The Vestry of St Mary's, a good deal quieter this afternoon than Highbury will be. Razzle dazzle on the concourse. That's the band at the North Bank end, and that's one of the reasons why the seats don't fill until about 5 minutes before the kick-off. The cricket next week, and bearing in mind the World Cup is now less than 2 weeks away. We've got 3 games. Sky Sports 1, 10:30 on Friday. 3 warm-up matches. England play Kent. Then it's the turn of the Australians against Glamorgan. 10:30 on Sky Sports 3 Saturday. And on Sunday, that's a week today, England play Essex. Again, 10:30 start, and that one is back on Sky Sports 1. Frank McClintock has shown some of that legendary pace and got back to the studio. We shall talk again in a moment, Frank. But first of all, we wondered, of course, all of us, as I said earlier, how Arsenal would respond to the semi-final defeat in the FA Cup. Their response has been absolutely magnificent. There are some similarities between this and last season, but Andy reckons there are also some major differences.
I think one of the major changes as we approach the end of this season compared with last season is the fact that when Arsene Wenger doesn't have Dennis Bergkamp, like today, sitting on the bench, does he have an option, a real viable option? I think this year he has, and that man is Kanu. Now, what they've done and what I've done today, last weekend against Middlesbrough, they went in against 3 centre-backs. So I thought that was fascinating because Derby today will also play 3 centre-backs. Now, as a front two, when you play against 3 centre-backs, you really have got to work them. If you don't, you get very little joy. And what I thought would be nice to show you how I think that Anelka and Kanu worked Middlesbrough's back 3 last weekend and how they'll try and work Derby's back 3 today just similarly. Let's take a look at Anelka first. Now, we know all about his pace. I've talked about it time and time again. This is within 3 minutes. And many players, when the ball's like that and the centre-backs are here and ahead of you, would have just held the position and said, go on then, feed it into my feet. But not Nicolas Anelka. He, even given 2 yards, wants to get in behind. And that's what he's saying to Patrick Vieira. Put it there. My pace will get me there. Lunging tackle from Steve Vickers. I think he knows he's given a penalty away. They go 1 up. Again, watch today if they overcommit Derby. This has been a corner from Middlesbrough. Vickers here is just trying to get back. Dean Gordon, who's been drafted into play as an emergency centre-back after Cooper's injuries, got caught high up the pitch. And if that happens today in any way, just look at this. Here's that man again. Pace. You can see Gary Pallister's problem here. He's got 2 running at him. He's backing off. He's doing the right thing. He can't really play offside. But the ball has just killed them all. And as I've said many times, when Anelka gets past you, he doesn't get caught. Here's another example. Watch today. The width here, just wide of the 3rd centre-back. They'll be looking to run in behind. And if they don't get the line right, look at Gary Pallister, looking for offside. But look behind him here. Far too deep. Anelka's through, and again, you have problems. So watch for Derby's back 3 holding a good line. If they don't, Anelka running in behind will really cause them problems. And this one, well, this is just brilliant football. Teach the front man to knock it back and then spin. That's what he's doing. But once again, look at the position. The other side of the pitch can do nothing to affect the play, and he's off. Now Derby, I'm sure, will have worked on holding a line at times very well, because if they don't, just look what happens. Absolutely wonderful. So that's the obvious pace of Nicholas Anelka. Whether it's down the sides, whether it's through the middle, he will be a threat. Now what does Kanu do? Slightly different, but I think just as effective. Here we go. This is last week. What he tried to do last week was draw people out. Now look at this. He's got Steve Vickers miles away from his other two centre-backs. Now look at the wing-back on the far side. He's so worried about Overmars that he isn't really coming round. Oops, let me do that. He isn't really coming round to tuck in. I think he should be, because watch this. As he pops it off, watch Kanu. He has a look, he sees the gap, and now he's wanting to hit that space. Look at him drive. And I think here, a better ball, and it's not a difficult one, from Ray Parlour in front of Kanu, and he would surely have hit the target. They got out of jail free there. Again, drawing the centre-backs out. Dean Gordon's been brought back. Look at this. Anelka's going to make the run. Kanu's going to slide the ball. But watch Kanu's movement. He doesn't hang around. He'd be from there drives. Now look at Overmars. A brilliant run across the face, taking his marker out the hole. Dean Gordon really struggling to get in any sort of position, and Kanu slides it in. And he can run with the ball. When he gets it deep, I think this is another ability that he has. Deceptively quick. Look at this, driving at people. Suddenly, Overmars was just able to tee someone up at the edge of the box, and it was a wonderful effort. But I tell you what, Richard, as well, if you can't stop them, or if you can, you've got to worry about their individualism. Look at that for a finish, and what about this? You defend well, you just knock one in, and you do that. I tell you what, variation is the key. Derby have got it all to do. I just hope, as an ex-front man, if we see that sort of performance today, I'm going to enjoy it. I don't know if Derby will.
I understood most of that, but Frank confused me watching it when he was talking about the wee wiggles. Who's got the wee wiggles?
Well, Kanu is like a big limbo dancer, isn't he? I mean, that goal that he scored, the ball was coming, he looked as though he was going to go that way, and then he just reversed back again. He only moved his upper body a half a yard, but sent the defender a wrong way. And he's just getting better and better.
This is the man who has set Arsenal's title challenge alight in the last couple of weeks.
Kanu, the enigmatic Nigerian whose recent goals have helped fire the Gunners back into title contention. With his unique cocktail of flair, strength and awareness, plus the ability to produce the unexpected, he's certainly caught the eye of the Arsenal fans. But the one big question they've all got about him is, what exactly is he?
A good player, that's enough.
Does he have a specific position, or?
No, not really. I would say yes, he's a central player. Central, yes. He can play, I believe he can play midfield as well, a little bit deeper. But basically, I would say he's a creative player in the central. Is it really up front? Is it behind the two strikers? Is it as a supportive striker? That doesn't really matter.
I don't think he's anybody I've seen before. He's so laid back. I mean, I was up at Manchester United when he first came on, and he wasn't fit at that time, and we thought, well, you know, this is a strange, bit of an odd bod, but he showed some great touches at Old Trafford even when he wasn't fit. But he isn't like anybody I could compare him with.
I believe I can play anywhere I see myself, and I'm going to give all my best in what position I'm playing. So it doesn't matter, it's left for the trainer to say, okay, you have to play this role for me and that role. So it's like in any position I can play, and I believe I always do good in any position, so it doesn't matter.
You've made comparisons with Alan Smith in the past, haven't you? What do you see as the similarities?
First, his mind, I would say mental, spirit. He wants to play for the team, and he's team-minded. That means all he does is to help the team to do well. And I would say Alan Smith, I admired a lot Alan Smith for that as well, because he makes basically people around him good.
Yeah, you know, you want to score, you also want the team to win. So if you can't score, you have to provide for others to score. The important thing is that in a team, you have to see that the team always wins.
I know Arsene Wenger's compared him to me, and he is similar in some respects. He's obviously a team player, he holds the ball up, but he doesn't lead the line quite like I used to. He likes to drop back and then zip forward, and I think he's quite quick when those legs get going.
With Dennis Bergkamp sidelined through games, So he's more than just making up the numbers.
You know how important Dennis is in our side, and when he missed the games, every time we needed a provider, and we need somebody as well who can sometimes play as a target man when Nicholas is not fit. So he's the ideal guy we needed, I would say, in the squad, because he can play for both of them.
Can Arsene Wenger play him as well as Anelka and Bergkamp?
I think that'd be difficult. I think that would spoil their shape. You know, I think with Vieira and Petit in the middle and Parlour and Overmars either side, I think they should stick with that. And it's a question of Bergkamp, well, it's a mixture of Bergkamp, Anelka or Kanu, and that's something that he hasn't had previously to Kanu's arrival, the option to change the way they go forward.
So Kanu's got a point to prove. To oust either Bergkamp or Anelka as first choice would be some feat. But as he's shown already, Kanu's full of surprises.
He's got big feet as well, hasn't he? Kanu. Jeff Shreves reporting. Frank McClintock, our guest this afternoon. We're just sitting here banding a few names about other similarities. He's got Alan Smith's mind, says Arsene Wenger. I said Asprilla, you said Cantona. Truth is, Frank, he's just a law unto himself, isn't he?
He is a bit, actually, but the way I'm talking about Cantona used to drift into these little deep positions that if you're not a player capable of playing in that position, it makes you look a fool. But when he receives the ball in tight areas, he already knows where he's going to pass the ball. So he's got his mind made up, he's got a picture of the whole situation, and he's got such a beautiful, subtle touch that he lays people in, and I think he's been a major revelation in the last month since he's come back to just what Arsenal needed, just that lift up front.
There's also a similarity with Dwight Yorke, and that is because he plays with a smile on his face.
Oh,
you always look as though he's enjoying it, doesn't he?
I mean, I love to watch Dwight Yorke. I mean, sometimes the game gets a little bit serious, and you see someone like Dwight Yorke. I remember he bumped into a corner flag a few weeks ago, and he made a little joke out of the corner flag, wrestling with the corner flag, and the big beaming smile came out.
Now, this fella's like that.
And Kanu's like, he's got a nice... I mean, we've been talking earlier about Anelka, and although Anelka's young and people say he's too young, it's a new country, I just wish he would give himself a little bit better chance by smiling occasionally, and when he scores a goal and looking as though he appreciates his teammates' work for him. I think it would endear him to the crowd a lot more than what he's doing at the moment, but he's still a superb player.
Kanu, of course, the latest addition here, an old stager, the other double-winning captain, Tony Adams. But you never thought there'd be another one, did you?
Well, he's done magnificent, really, Richard. I mean, he's just going from strength to strength. His record in football must be very close to when the great Liverpool sides were about, constantly winning things, and international captain as well.
With one club as well.
With one club. He's been outstanding, and I think he's got better as a player as he's got older as well.
And he could be holding up that championship trophy again this season, of course. Anelka, you mentioned, Player of the Year, Young Player of the Year. He missed the ceremony, apologised for not being there. Gordon Taylor and the PFA have made the effort to come here this afternoon and present him with that trophy. And he is smiling, Frank. Good.
Good, that's a start.
It's Highbury this afternoon, the home of the champions. Derby County are here on a Super Sunday. Had one or two lessons from Arsenal over the last 2 years, haven't we? Just up the road, lessons of another kind at the University of London. But it is Highbury today that people are making their way to, 38,000 and more on a beautiful day. All they want now is 3 points for the Gunners. And the title race, of course, is really hotting up. 3 still involved, and when we come back, we'll take a look at the chase for the championship. Well, some good live sport tonight when we've finished. Here at 6:30, it's basketball, the championship final between the Thames Valley Tigers and the London Towers. That's at 6:30 here on Sky Sports 1. On tour, it's golf, the 4th and final day of the Houston Open, 8 o'clock. And on 3, the build-up starts to the game that will in fact settle the race for the Scottish Championship if Rangers win. The build-up, 5:30 Sky Sports 3. That game kicks off at 6:05. It's Arsenal against Derby County on a Super Sunday, and Derby have got a good record against the champions as well. But they've won only one of the last 9. 37 of the 89 down the years, all but 2 in the top league. Their last win here, though, May 89, 2-1, 2 for Dean Saunders, and that was the season, of course, that Arsenal went to Anfield and tied up this championship. Well, it is still very much a three-horse race, despite Chelsea's recent stumbles. Vialli's men very much involved, and they made their intentions clear when they went to Aston Villa, you might recall, on a Super Sunday. Chelsea followed up that impressive win at Villa Park with another one at Charlton. Di Matteo got the game's only goal. United were across southeast London at Wimbledon. Jason Newell put the Dons ahead. But David Beckham got the equaliser on the stroke of half-time, and that's how it finished, 1-1. Arsenal went to the Dell to face Southampton. Champions dug in and got a point.
Marchio stopped splendidly by Seaman, and it was Beattie's follow-up, and Southampton wonder how they haven't scored.
So United were 4 points clear of the Gunners. Chelsea were third, a further point behind, but with a game in hand. Next for Arsenal, it was Blackburn. Dennis Bergkamp's 11th goal of the season won the points. But the win was marred by Martin Keown's sending off. While the top two were preoccupied with that fantastic FA Cup semi-final, Chelsea had the chance to steal the initiative. They went to Wimbledon and won. Flo scored. And Poyet, back after a long absence through injury, made absolutely sure. Three days later, they were at the Riverside for their fourth straight away game. Gianfranco Zola had a chance to put them top, but couldn't take it. Chelsea stayed third, but only on goal difference. United were still top, but now they had a game in hand. Having seen off Arsenal in that semi-final, next it was Sheffield Wednesday. Fergie had made a few changes, but still, they were too good for the Owls.
And a goal from Solskjaer. Sheringham! Scholes. Sheringham back for Paul Scholes again. 3.
Chelsea took on Leicester at the Bridge 24 hours later, and they just had to win this one. Initially, everything was going very well.
Zola, he's behind Olathorpe, Gianfranco Zola! And Petrescu against the post and in off Matthew Elliott. Elliott. It's another own goal. Guppy. It's bending, it's in! Steve Guppy!
Arsenal had to wait until the Monday night, and then they ripped into Wimbledon.
Kanu couldn't get there. He did. And he scored again. It's Parler. It's 1-0 Arsenal. Vieira. Chance here. What a super strike by Patrick Vieira. And Kanu
United were still top with that game in hand, but the champions were closing in. Chelsea were slipping away now. Last weekend, Arsenal were first out of the blocks, and this time, Middlesbrough suffered.
And Nelka. And down he goes. Penalty. Overmars rather scuffs it in, but in it goes. Great chance for Arsenal, and Nelka doesn't waste it. Kanu, 3. Is this going to be number 4? Vieira, it is number 4. Kanu! Oh, wonderful goal, 5. Anelka, still Anelka, 6.
United's wonderful Champions League winning Juventus kept them on course for the treble. Now they had to go to Leeds.
Kuhl. Oh, Hasselbank might get here before Schmeichel. Goal from Leeds United. Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank. Keane. That's a lovely ball for Nicky Butt. Can save it. Andy Cole has put it in, and it's Leeds United 1, Manchester United 1.
Chelsea had watched that in the morning. A win at Hillsborough would keep them amongst it, but they looked tired after their Cup Winners' Cup semi-final defeat.
Turning Everton inside out. A decent ball. Poyet's there!
So after winning at Middlesbrough, the champions were top for the first time this season, and they'd significantly reduced the goal difference problem. Chelsea had all but given up. Yesterday, they had Everton at the Bridge, still with an eye on the Champions League. Zola put them in front. He then set up Petrescu for the second. Jeffers pulled one back for Everton to give them some anxious moments. But Zola made sure. The manager of the month and United were at home against Aston Villa, who made them work for the points.
Lundqvist. It's a lovely ball for Scholes. York is there, the ball's run into the net. And it looks like it will be an own goal. Stowe, nicely played by Aston Villa. And it's brought an equaliser. Julian Joachim. Here goes Becker. Brilliant. Calls for a penalty and it's been given. Michael Oakes with a magnificent save.
So United and Chelsea have both won this weekend. What's Arsenal's response going to be? Well, the chase for the championship threatening to be as good as anything that we've seen so far. One defeat in 23 for Arsenal to Manchester United in that semi-final. They're unbeaten in 17 league games, 11 goals in their last 2 matches. They've conceded only 15 in 34. That's the best defensive record in Europe. The Premiership record's 26. Over 42 games, 16. Liverpool back in 78-79. So they're on for all sorts of records. At home, they are the only team in the country with an unbeaten home record across all 4 divisions. Only 5 goals conceded here in 17 matches. Top goal scorer Anelka with 17 now, 15 in the league. Ray Parlour, his 6 goals have all come in the last 11 matches. 7 sent off, 10 in total, 22 in 2.5 years under Arsene Wenger. The average attendance, just over 38,000. Only Liverpool and Manchester United can better that. The last 3, they've won. Beat Blackburn by 1-0, Wimbledon by 5 goals to 1, Middlesbrough by 6 goals to 1. So are they going to be involved on the last day? Can they win this title again?
The
think it's going to go right down to the wire, actually. The last game, I think it'll be on goal difference. It's really close at the moment. It's going to be a close game today. If we get good results today, I think the hardest game's going to be at Tottenham away on Wednesday.
If Arsenal win all their games, that's all they can do. I mean, it's down to Man United, then, isn't it?
We need United, obviously, to slip up. All we can do is try and win all our games, which is 4 left. I don't think United are going to slip up too much, to be quite honest, but it'd be nice to see them drop a couple of points.
We can't afford to lose any games on the run-in. Today, obviously, it's as important as all the rest of the games. So we've got to win this one. I'm sure we will, and just hope that Man U will slip up.
If we lose today, it'll be very, very difficult. I don't think we can even contemplate losing. It's just not worth thinking about.
It's going to be close again, but we're on a roll now, and the main man, Canu, I don't know what the team is today yet. If the main man, Canu's in there, he'll do the business, and we'll be on a roll, and we'll be there.
The main man, Canu, is in there. No Dennis Bergkamp in the starting lineup today. Same question to our guest here today, Frank McClintock. Can the Gunners do it again?
You mean win the championship?
Win the championship.
Oh yes, it's definitely possible, but as the guy said earlier there, it's in Manchester United's hands. And they are a superb side, and they're in great form, just like Arsenal's in great form. I was so thrilled with that semi-final, you know. I thought it was one of the best games I've seen for years and years. And then, as I said earlier, Manchester United went after that titanic game and beat Juventus. I mean, that is some going. And I think the top teams in the 4 top teams...
They're at Liverpool, of course, on Wednesday night. We'll see it live on Sky Sports. Is that a potential stumbling block for them?
Well, yes, of course it is. I mean, but we're thinking, when you think about Liverpool, you always think about their great past. They haven't achieved as much this season, but they had a good win yesterday, come back from 2-0. It's certainly important games.
It's actually impossible to call it, isn't it? Because, of course, Arsenal go to Tottenham on the same night. And there's the possibility of problems for the Gunners.
Absolutely. I mean, regardless of if Tottenham were at the bottom of the league and Arsenal were at the top, 10, 15 points clear of them, whatever, it could still be a very tight game and it could go either way.
So it doesn't matter that Spurs haven't got anything to play for now?
Not at all. I think, exactly. You know, when they two play together, it's always a terrific
The
game.
first job is to beat Derby County, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Must win today. Do you
only
agree with
look
that?
at one game anyway, Richard. It's an old saying, it's boring as hell, but that is the truth. You look at this game, if you can't win this game, it's a waste of time talking about the games coming up.
Of course, a year ago this week, Derby County were here. Midweek, Arsenal had to beat them to give themselves a chance on the final day of winning the championship. Manu Petit came up with the winning goal, but it was a rare, tough old tussle. So that was Derby beaten, and then exactly a year ago...
And Anelka wins it back, and Arsenal now don't want the game to be stopped because they've got Overmars. You do get the feeling that if Everton were good enough to get one, Arsenal would just raise their game and reassert themselves. Hutchison. The championship crown goes...
That, of course, is a day that all of us who are here in the sunshine will never forget. Andy Gray and Martin Tyler were.
Thank you, Richard. Hello again, everyone. That was one on 18 games unbeaten. The Everton, the 18th game. If they avoid defeat today, it will be 18 league games unbeaten again, but it's not good enough this season, Andy, is it? Not yet,
quite.
Anyway.
No, Manchester United have been a little bit better this year, Martin. They got caught up in Europe, I think, Manchester United. They had a very poor beginning of the year, 1998, and they really didn't 1998 and didn't really test Arsenal after the turn of the year, and that was good enough. It's going to take probably an unbeaten run, a winning unbeaten run from now to the end of the season if Arsenal are going to have any chance of retaining their crown.
Right, let's go to the team news for you. It is the Arsenal side that thrashed Middlesbrough last weekend. Arsene Wenger happy to keep the great Dennis Bergkamp on hold, maybe with Tottenham away on Wednesday in mind, and I feel they will only use him today if necessary. Martin Keown is still suspended, so Steve Bowles stays alongside Tony Adams. The entire back four, each with 3 championship medals, tells you something about their experience. Nelson Vivas also banned today after his red card in the FA Cup semi-final against Manchester United.
Well, the fascination today for me, Martin, is not what Arsenal do. I think what we see here is pretty much what we get. That formidable back four that you talked about there. I'll be interested to see what they face today. Jim Smith is always likely to throw up some kind of formation that we might not expect. We'll wait and see what he's going to do. But ahead of that, I think it's the key to the match today, with Parla, Vieira and Petit forming that wonderful trio of what I call all-round midfield players. They basically have everything you need to play in that area. Overmars, of course, gives them that little variation on the left-hand side.
I think to watch today, if they're against a back three or a back five, is that the switch of play from right to left for both fullbacks, Winterburn and Dixon, enjoyed an awful lot of joy against Middlesbrough, who play a similar system last week at up at Ayrsham Park at the Riverside. And of course, Kanu, what a boost for that man there to be picked. Bergkamp not 100%, but you can bet that last year Bergkamp would have played today. It's a measure of what they think of Kanu, that he is put in tandem with Anelka, and we just wonder, can they play as well as they did last weekend?
Jim Smith's selection, limited by injuries to 8 of his first-team squad, including Stimac, Sturridge, Baiano, Dorigo, Schnur and Bourbakis. So there are 4 teenagers on the bench. Mark Porm continues in goal for the suspended Russell Holt. Rory Delap after a lengthy absence, and Stefano Aranio are the wing-backs. And if any specific marking job on Kanu is required, well, Jakob Larsson is the leading candidate.
Well, we wait and see whether they do go man for man on Kanu, but there's no doubt, Martin, that I don't know how quick those 3 are. I'll tell you one thing, neither of them can keep up with Anelka, so it's important that if they're holding the line, it's a good one, but they defend sensibly back towards their own goal. Give themselves a bit of room to play with if they're up against Nicholas Anelka. Ahead of that, this is what I mean. It's going in with 2 central midfield. Now, that might be key, because I think with Ray Parlour tucking in as well at times as he does, that may be a problem area for him. And it looks as if Jim's banking on Burton, Wanchop and Beck. Now, if they 3 can get it together and get enough of the ball, there's enough about those 3 to cause 1 or 2 problems. I just wonder how they'll cope, Martin, if they don't get the ball and they have to defend that way.
Well, the Groundsman of the Year award again has gone to Arsenal's Steve Braddock, the 5th time in 9 years. And Steve believes that this is the best the Highbury pitch has ever been. He thanks Arsene Wenger for his cooperation in that. They haven't played too many reserve games here this season, but it is unbelievable.
It's absolutely amazing. I did sneak on before he arrived this morning when I was walking down for lunch and had a little walk on it, Martin. And to say it's like an Axminster, a carpet, is no overestimation of this pitch. It is absolutely magnificent. It is the best I've seen it. I mean, he's won that trophy so often that he probably should be keeping one. They should be striking one for him alone. But
he's the Alec Ferguson of groundsmen.
It's tough if you're a player, though. I mean, if you smash one over the bar, you can't very much look down at the ground and say, hey, it got a bobble, come on.
No bobbles here. Just a message for the Arsenal fans from the club that those who can't get to White Hart Lane on Wednesday, only 2,820 Arsenal tickets available for the North London derby. But the match is being beamed back here on the big screens to Highbury. Pay on the gate, and the gates open around 7 o'clock. Well, here we are, 2 weeks to go in the FA Carling Premiership. The top 2 clubs with 4 to play. Arsenal 2 points behind Manchester United. United with 3 away and 1 at home. Arsenal with 2 away, and this the first of 2 left at Highbury. Derby County, they made it very difficult here this time last year, and also some 8 weeks ago in the FA Cup. On both occasions it was, as they love to sing in these parts, 1-0, only 1-0 to the Arsenal.
Trust me, Mark, we'll take that today. An hour and a half, an hour and 45 minutes from now, if they're singing 1-0 to the Arsenal, and Arsene Wenger will take that.
But the last 2 Arsenal 11s have hit 11 goals to underline their desire to defend this league title successfully. The Gunners have to keep winning and hope that the one club above them cannot do the same. It's Derby Day at Highbury. Arsenal against Derby County. It's live for you all right after this break.
So what's Arsenal's response to the win yesterday? We're about to find out. after, of course, we have paused, as has been the case up and down the country through yesterday and today, for a minute's silence in memory of the late, great Sir Alf Ramsey. And we'll never forget you, Sir Alf. Here we go, Arsenal against Derby County, live from the Carling Premiership. Match commentators Andy Gray and Martin Tyler.
Thank you very much, Richard. Arsenal's destiny still not in their own hands. They must keep on winning. Their home record is particularly impressive. Unbeaten here in the league in 27 matches. They've won the last 6 in the Premiership on this ground. Derby County have just tailed away, rather as they did a year ago when possibly Europe was in their sights. But like most clubs in the Premier League this season, they're basically delighted to have maintained their place in the top division. Arsenal kick-off.
Just looking at Derby quickly, Martin, like you, I thought Stefano Aranio would play left wing-back, but they've actually lined up with Daryl Powell in that position, and Aranio was actually playing in up against Patrick Vieira. I just wonder if they go man for man in that area.
Arsenal certainly tracking Kanu as well. They've made it very difficult for Arsenal here in their recent visits, have Derby. They suffered the heartbreak in the FA Cup quarter-final. Kanu scored his first goal for the Gunners in the last minute to send Arsenal into the semi-finals. And of course, Derby have plenty of cause for revenge. They also knocked out of the League Cup by an Arsenal reserve side in embarrassing fashion back in October. Quickly in on Daryl Powell. Very pleasant viewing conditions. Might be a little bit on the hot side for the players. Overmars.
Those areas, Mark, where I think fullbacks will get the ball if they want it high up the pitch, wide, and fairly comfortable at any time. Beck.
Nicely cut out by Adams. But They try to operate with 3-up Derby in this system when they do have the ball with Beck and Burton and Wanchop. But there'll be plenty of responsibility to just get back and congest the midfield when Arsenal are in possession for at least 2 of those 3.
I think that's okay when you get time to get back, Martin, but if the 3 of them go up and something happens in the 18-yard box for Arsenal, you'd expect all 3 to be in there. And it's when Arsenal break quickly from there. But particularly at the moment, and it is Burton and Wanchop that are the deeper of the 3.
Beck. Wanchop, who's got his goal touch back recently, 4 in his last 5 games after a long lean period for the long lean player.
Yeah, this is a decent little build-up. They work the ball well, little chest pass, and he spins off very, very quickly. I wondered whether he'd just take Tony Adams on, look to shoot. He never quite hit the ball the way he wanted.
Dixon. Spins off Powell. Irania. Rory Delap's missed a lot of football with a knee problem, but they're glad to have him today in these circumstances, Derby.
Jim was almost playing himself.
Well, it's like a creche on their bench. There's so many youngsters. Adam Murray, who's had 1 appearance as a substitute recently at West Ham. Marvin Robinson, a young striker who's not yet tasted senior service. Kanu. Overmars with 2 to take on. Bohinen back helping Delap. Beck, who was signed from Middlesbrough, as I say, right on the deadline day. And he was part of the Middlesbrough side that got a draw here back in November on one of the rare occasions when Arsenal conceded a goal in the first half of a match in the Premiership. It's only happened twice. Can you believe that?
No. That's extraordinary stat.
Well, they are football's Ministry of Defence. Long ball by one of those defenders, Winterburn. Anelka.
You know, they may have won 5 here against Wimbledon, Martin, last time up, last home game, but it did take them a bit of time. I think we'd gone the half-hour mark before the first goal went in, and I think Derby will try and do that again today. They'll try and make life difficult for as long as possible. The first goal, I think, in games like this, when you're chasing it or when you're struggling, are all important. Arsenal get an early one, settle them. I think they go on and get more. Derby frustrate them, Arsenal get frustrated.
Overmars with a free kick, which was awarded by referee Neil Barry for a foul on Kanu on the far side of the penalty area.
You'd normally expect that to be a threat. Bald and Adams joining Kanu and Vieira in particular in there. I don't include Anelka. He had scored with a header yet, so.
Bohinen. Bowled above Beck. Vieira. Wanchop. Bohinen. Burton, who's really improved this season. Maybe that's born of confidence from being involved in the World Cup with Jamaica. Pryor doing well when he might have been exposed by Overmars' pace then. Petit. Overmars. Anelka. Got help here from Lee Dixon. The height of Kanu a factor in the centre. And there's Anelka trying to connect with a header. Andy Gray smiling alongside me.
That's the space though, Martin, with Parlour tucked in as narrow as he is. Lee Dixon absolutely ache as he had to just trek on into
Vieira! Well, he scored his first Arsenal goal against Derby. He scored in the last 2 games for his club, not too many in between.
Well, he's attempted this, Mark. This is deliberate outside of the right foot, because he has a look. You see him have a look there, and he takes his time. He's deliberate. He cuts across the ball with his right foot. He wants to send it out left. He wants to bring it back. He does all that. He just doesn't get it a foot low enough. Wonderful effort.
Amazingly, neither Vieira nor Petit have played against Derby before this season. There have been 3 previous meetings between these 2 clubs. So whatever Jim Smith and Ray Harford have been plotting tactically, some of their players haven't faced this particular challenge since Petit won the league game a year ago with a crucial goal in the run-in in a match that cost Arsenal the services of Dennis Bergkamp for the rest of the season, including the FA Cup final. Bergkamp is on the bench today, not quite fully fit after an abdominal strain. Emergencies only, really, is why he's got stripped today. Kanu, who has got everyone checking out maybe comparable players, but he's 6'5" tall.
Well, I've not seen one.
His feet not quite as big as has been suggested. The boots, and I saw them today, are definitely size 11, which is about the same as Steve Bold, I think, who's on the ball here.
You can see Derby's tactic, Mark, is to allow the back 4 of Arsenal to have it, and for Burton and Wanchop, as they're doing at the moment, just to drop back into midfield and help Peranio and Bohinen.
Yes, and particularly try to close down the space that Winterburn and Dixon might like to use. But when Derby are on the ball, well, they can be more positive in their thinking, more progressive in their play. Beck through the centre at the moment. Wanchop, well, it's going to be a free kick for Bold's challenge on Beck. Taken quickly by Aranio, too quickly for the referee. He'd be relieved to have a second go at it. Aimed for Rory Delap, one of a number of good players who've learnt their trade initially at Carlisle United. Delap's long throw. Bold making sure it didn't get to Wanchop, but it's a corner for Derby.
Well, normally I would say Arsenal are pretty good at this, Mark, but the 2 goals they've conceded against Middlesbrough and against Wimbledon, not from corners but from set pieces wide, and Arsenal normally defend them well. They didn't on those 2 occasions.
Shot from Bohinen through the crowd. Wanchop would have been offside, I think. In fact, the flag has gone up. They were 5-0 up and 6-0 up at the time, but you're quite right, Andy. And Tony Adams writing in today's match programme saying how annoyed he was that those goals went in. Defenders love those clean sheets as much as strikers love scoring goals. David Seaman back from a successful performance in his 50th international for England in Hungary, with a slightly bruised hand. Never any risk, though, of him not playing today. Bold. Vieira, Dixon setting off, Burton going with him. That's important for Derby. Oh, and Burton's done a hamstring in that sprint, so Dixon is away. And Dion Burton can't stop him crossing a second time, and Palm flies out when he could have let it go.
Well, that was one for the pictures, that. The goalkeeper, absolutely no danger from Mark Poom. Back in the team. But this is problems for Derby, no doubt. I can't see Dion Button taking much more part in this game. And when this ball comes in, all he needs is a shout from one of his defenders. Leave it. Just let it go. All he's done is continue the pressure. And it's now Arsenal with a corner. And we know how dangerous they can be from there.
Well, the only experienced outfield player that Derby have got on the bench is Kevin Harper.
Well, he could play there. I think there's a doubt about that. But he's already tracksuits off.
Burton staying on the pitch, or is he? No, he's just heading off now, and presumably it's goodbye to him. Paul has a problem with the corner. The referee helps him out. Suggestion that Adams fouled the Estonian goalkeeper.
Just a little too much air in this corner. They hung it up a little bit too high, Ray Parlour. That gave the goalkeeper a chance to come 8 yards. Looked to take it under pressure. Well, they've made their mind up, Martin. Even from that far away, they can tell when the hamstring goes. Substitute. Jim wants to make it now. Looks like he's saying to Kevin Harper, you play right side. Well, you know right away. We saw with Michael on a few weeks ago how quickly he pulled up.
Well, Derby, who hadn't found goals too easy to come by this season, now lose their leading scorer early in the piece at Highbury. So yet another injury for Jim Smith and his staff to have to deal with. Dixon. Parlour. Great movement by Anelka, 1-0 to Arsenal. The newly acclaimed PFA Young Player of the Year, who didn't attend his coronation last Sunday, got his trophy earlier today and gets a goal inside the first 15 minutes.
What a finish. This is a beautiful goal. He makes a little diagonal run in behind. They're looking for offside. He's not. It's a wonderful ball from Parlour. And what a strike from Anelka. Didn't look. The goal's never moved. Turns across the goalkeeper. Poom is absolutely helpless. This is just the start that Arsenal wanted. Fine, fine finish from Nicolas Anelka.
Aranio, given to him by Adams. Whereas Petit with the challenge. Arsenal looking to get on the move again, but Anelka, the exception to that statement, he put the brakes on.
Now it took half an hour, as I said, against Wimbledon. It's taken half that time. We saw what they did to Wimbledon that evening. And suddenly there's a little spring. You even sense it now, Martin, that there's a belief now and a sense of there's nothing to stop us.
Well, there is just a little bit of a limp for Anelka.
Yeah, there definitely is. Well,
that's why he didn't chase that earlier ball. Now he's prepared to come across here.
Well, if it is just a knock, then he can run that off, shake it off. More of a concern if it's a strain of some kind.
It's got to Lawson at his back. Vieira. That's going to be a free kick. Derby in the end were lunging in with an air of desperation.
Well, it's just pressure, pressure, pressure all over the pitch. They don't allow Derby any time to even clear it. They're right in the face, Kanu and Vieira in particular, that one. Well, this is made for Petit. If he wants it, if he fancies it. Doesn't look like he's hitting it. Not from there.
Well, I think as a joke, Lee Dixon just did a little bit of a David Beckham impression and he's moved away. So if it's going to be the direct route with a right footer, Ray Parlour is the prime candidate. He goes over it. It's set up for Petit, and it worked to the extent that Petit got his shot in on goal, but it was straight at Paul.
Well, it's clever. I'm not so sure what you gain by shifting it forward towards the wall. I think Petit would have been much more dangerous if he's taken a little run at that from 5 or 6 yards away from it. He basically was hitting a ball from a standing position. Didn't get any power into the shot. It's always nice to see something different at a free kick.
Anelka getting attention off the pitch. Might give Arsene Wenger a bit of a conundrum if it's something that Anelka might want to spare with the future matches to come, but it isn't at this early stage of the game. He's back on. Beck. One chop. So it's a double blow for Derby. They've lost the scoring power of Dion Burton, and they've lost the opening goal of the game to the recharged Anelka, who came back at Middlesbrough, having had to sit and watch against Wimbledon. He kind of enjoyed that, really, from a personal point of view. My goodness, he roared back at the Riverside. First time he scored more than one goal in an away game. He got 2 and was involved in everything else.
Nothing like competition, Mark, to give you a kick up the backside at this level.
Lovely play by Aranio. Bohinen. Beck trying to drag the defenders away for Bohinen's run.
Tony Adams turned round and applauded Lee Dixon, Martin, because that was fabulous. Full back play from him. We often talk about those 4, how often they've played together. Had Dixon been 5 or 6 yards off Adams, Bohinen would have been in.
Anelka. Bohinen involved again. Petit. Referee right on top of the incident. Saw exactly what was going on, allows the game to go on. Dixon. Kanu! Well, he was caught between 2 then.
Well, that's obstruction. That must be an indirect free kick, Mark. That's incredible play. How on earth he's got control of it here and wriggled his way through. That to me is obstruction. Blatant obstruction. Should be a free kick in the box for Arsenal. Didn't get it.
Header by Beck. One chop, but it spins away for Kevin Harper. Well, his first intention was to get it across the face of the goal. He did that. Whether it was a miss-hit cross shot. Well, Anelka is Arsenal's leading scorer again. He's got back in front of Bergkamp. That was last weekend. That's number 18. Overmars. Cleared by Lawson in front of Anelka that time. But signs of Arsenal really turning on the style in the sunshine.
No matter what happens, Martin, it's been a fabulous defence they've made of the title. It's not often an easy thing to do. History shows us that. But I think that no Arsenal supporter could complain about the way this team's tried to defend its title, and may yet do.
Well, it's one way to really exact revenge on Manchester United for knocking the FA Cup out of their hands at Villa Park in that epic, in which Arsenal played a full part, of course. And had one shot to win it, as it turned out. Dennis Bergkamp couldn't take that opportunity. Anelka. Winterburn into the channel, filled by Petit, the man from across the channel. But he's hurt. Bohinen. Carbonari. Petit back on his feet. certainly put in a few tackles, Jim Smith's sides, when they've come here. And Nigel Winterburn makes some space for himself. The crowd loved that. Petit's in full working order again, it seems. But Carbonari lets it run behind for what is a goal kick, and Petit's not disputing that.
What a play by Nigel Winterburn. Great tackle, and then to keep it in. Not just once, but twice. They're looking for handball there. That's, I think, with Jim Smith. You see him out in the touchline, Jim. It means something to him this game. Well, that was good covering. Carbonari, who certainly is playing deeper than the other two centre-backs, definitely as a sweeper. And that was important there. Enough depth to get across.
Well, you talk about the speed of Winterburn, and what about Lee Dixon, who stretched away, and Dion Burton, who's 22. His hamstring went in that sprint with the 35-year-old. On from Wanchop. Petit. Vieira. Lovely touch from Parler. Dixon on the move again. Cut out by Powell. Parler didn't give it up. That's why Dixon resumed possession. Vieira. Petit. Crowd wanted the shoot.
Good hit. That's the trouble Derby have, Martin. The front three were stranded up the pitch, and there's only Aranio and Bohinen. They got them both on this side of the pitch. You look at Aranio looking round, and that left acres of space for Petit to take his time, have a little look. I think he'll be a little disappointed he hasn't hit the target there. Really under no pressure at all.
Adams, they were lining up the Arsenal players there, and Petit, I think, was caught by one of his teammates, but Porm to kick it wide of Kanu. Too easy, given the size of the Nigerian. Lawson. Winterburn in control without needing to play the ball. Arsene Wenger's been talking about Nicolas Anelka not talking to the media, and that he should express himself on the pitch. That's good enough. And certainly Anelka has done that in this opening 25 minutes at Highbury by his goal. Arsenal lead Derby County. Dixon. Derby's pattern of play does require constant discipline, and that discipline being put to the test by the fact that Arsenal are enjoying the way the game is shaping up. Dixon, unlucky, fine idea. Wancho for Iranio. Harper and Winterburn in effectively. Bohinen. They've worked it well here, Derby. Through Wanchop to Harper, taking on Petit. That's a bit early for the Olays.
A bit early for showboating as well, I think, Mark. But no, there's graft in the side, but there's a lot about Derby's play when they have the ball. It's neat and tidy. And if they could add a little bit of a threat to that, then there'll still be plenty in this game.
Overall this season, Derby have defended much better than last season. Been hard to break down. But recently they've conceded 5 at West Ham, 4 at Leeds, and now Rory Delap drawn into a rash lunge, and Neil Barry is going to produce the yellow card here.
I'm afraid he's got to win the ball here. As soon as Overmars has touched it past him, well, I don't think you can have any arguments at all. That's a booking. That would always worry me. Player you've got against Overmars gets booked with over an hour to go in a game.
Parlour. He's one of those who didn't go to Hungary with England. Here's Wanchop. Well, a referee believes that Wanchop went to ground under his own momentum. I'm not sure that everyone in the ground agreed with that decision.
No, not me. I'm one of those.
But it's Bohinen. Wanchop concentrating on the game and not dwelling on what had not been given a moment or two earlier. Play spread at the moment, a chance for Petit. Anelka. Touch for Kanu, had a look to the right, there's nobody there, still nobody there, so he's got to work it short with Anelka. Kanu again. Parlour, always going wide, looked more exciting maybe from the other side of the ground, where the roars came from.
He wanted the bend on it that Patrick Vieira got earlier, Martin. Good football again from Arsenal. There's a lovely open field to this game. Both teams trying to play. They could have used Anelka, broke wide. But such is the confidence of this Arsenal side. When they get in and around the box, they're certainly not frightened of pulling the trigger.
Bohinen losing out to Vieira. Well, that goal at Middlesbrough, I think, is going to get Kanu a reputation for doing the exceptional. They want that every time the ball comes to him, but the essence of his play is how well he does the simple things. Petit. And now Adams. Vieira. Kanu touches like that, but it didn't quite come off. Carbonari read it. Powell galloping down in support of Stefano Aranio. Here's Daryl Powell, back for the Italian again. Challenged and put off by Parlour. Another pat on the back from the captain, as there was for Dixon earlier. Well, what a match from Celtic Park tonight. Sky Sports 3, 5:30. And Arsenal against Southampton, that's the Women's FA Cup final. Tomorrow at 2, Sky Sports 1, and the Arsenal women's manager is the first team kit man, Vic Akers. There he is, concentrating on his day job today. And tomorrow, well, he'll be hoping to be the Arsene Wenger of the ladies team. Bold. Everyone but Wanchop back behind the ball for Derby. Bohinen. Players who are very happy to get the ball in tight areas, like Aranio and Bohinen.
Does get congested the way Arsenal play, Martin, when they try to get through centrally, because that's where Derby are trying to pin their strength. Centrally. But the comfort of the goal means that Arsenal don't have to force it. That's the beauty of that early goal. It means the fans are patient, not giving them stick.
Well, I saw Manchester United score first against Aston Villa, and they were then pegged back by an equaliser before half-time, and the whole mood changed of that match. Might be the same here, but Arsenal certainly looking good enough to make it 2. But Overmars, low cross read by Carbonari. But Arsenal haven't done the job yet. Bold, making sure Wanchop didn't get there with freedom to attack.
I was going to say you never have done it 1-0, but this Arsenal side have done it 1-0 so often.
Well, many Arsenal sides have done it 1-0, but of course goal difference is a factor we shouldn't ignore. Currently, it's, counting today's goal, 41-40 in Manchester United's favour. But United have scored the more. So Arsenal, in effect, need to win by 3 clear to be in front on that particular standard. Lawson. Parler. Played his own luck against Bohinen. Anelka making a move. Safer ball was to Overmars. As though Pryor had got the ball away from Anelka then, but the Frenchman getting it back. Vieira. Bohinen. Too far ahead of Harper. Well, what are we? 11 minutes away from Arsenal going through another first half without conceding a goal. I think it's Middlesbrough and Leicester who've managed to score against them in the first 45 minutes. Derby could still do it here.
Well, they need to get a shot on target first, don't they?
Ball from Petit to Mark Overmars. Anelka's waiting. It's Pryor who stopped him.
It just closed down. I think he wanted to hit it. But obviously, pressure right in front of him.
It's a nice flick from Beck. And a real leggy contest there between Vieira and Wanchop, which has ended as a free kick for the Costa Rican and for Derby County.
I don't know, Mark, I just get the feeling there's something in the game for Derby. At 1-0, playing that system that Jim likes, of committing men forward, so just get the impression if they put a move together, they might get some joy. Certainly, Carbonari will fancy hitting this.
Carbonari shares his birthday with David Beckham. That is today, the 2nd of May. And he, like Beckham, is a set-piece specialist, but that wasn't in any way like David Beckham against Aston Villa yesterday.
Well, the only thing he did do, he almost made his players catch it up. I mean, anyone running in there might have had a chance of getting on the end of that. Could have ended up a wonderful pass. How poor it was hit. You see Daryl Powell's not far away. Almost turned into a good ball. Let's just say he struck better.
Dixon, quick thinking at the throw from Parler. Kanu. Can he see a way to goal? Well, he was just looking to try and power it past Paul, but Lawson blocked it.
Yeah, he skips past Carbonari, does well initially, but full marks to Lawson. Never committed himself to the tackle, stayed on his feet, made it difficult for Kanu.
Petit's corner. Good defensive header from Pryor.
Height and distance, the order, and he got that.
And Steve Bold had stayed forward, but it was it he too far forward? The flag's gone up.
He or Petit, it could only have been. It's a tight call. See how close that is. I'm not so sure either of them are offside, but flag went up.
Beck. Here's the lap. 4 in the centre for Derby. Daryl Powell trying to come onto the scene to be the 5th man. So good job by Lawson, was vigilant there as Arsenal cleared it quickly towards Kanu. Vieira. Oh, and Anelka expected Vieira, I think, to go on.
I think a little too much angle, Martin, on the ball. I think when you see it, I think if he just pushes it directly in front of him, then I think he's probably through. You can see there's a little angle on the pass, taking it away from goal. Maybe just lost his bearings, Anelka, as well. Lost where the ball was. But they combined brilliantly at the Riverside last weekend. that kind of area.
Kanu. Dixon, Overmars has run off Harper by the far post. Fowler's cross comes back to him via Carbonari. Petit getting involved in this attack. Dixon is there. Fowler is there.
They don't
Another
like
Arsenal
putting the air on
corner.
crosses, do they? You notice that? Incredible amount of times they get it wide and fit it in low. I mean, that to me is well walked. They've got great space there. Now go on, miss the front man, outstand it. They're reluctant to do it.
Habits born from the pre-Kanu era.
Yeah.
Petit with the corner. For years, of course, Steve Bold's been going near post for Arsenal in those situations, but it's too high for him. Winterburn can have a look, and he spotted Adams. Winterburn again. Overmars, brilliant pass from Winterburn. They're just lacking the final ball, Arsenal, at the moment. They're working the wide positions well enough. Anelka. It's a bit of impeding by Fowler on Eranio. Beck. Carbonari had to just dig that out from under his feet at the last minute, so quickly was Kanu upon him.
That's good pressure from Anelka and Kanu. Front men talk about goals and things like that all the time, Mark, and quality football, but that's another part of the game that makes the top sides like Manchester United and Arsenal so good. Front two are prepared to graft and put defenders under pressure.
Well, Dixon thinks it's going to be his throw. He's going to get a shot when he turns round. Beck. Vieira. Oh, and, Carbonari was taken out by the pass. I don't know how much of a touch there was on Anelka. He's saying it was a dive. The referee is going to show the yellow card to the defender from Argentina.
Yeah, lovely break again from Vieira. He really has played well in this first half. I don't think you can have any arguments, Carbonari. Just caught Anelka.
Adams darting away on the far side. Goalkeeper, he's lost it. Whether it was Horn or someone else in the crowd there, but Vieira felt a heavy challenge.
Was a goalkeeper, Mark. Flat, almost flat.
Kanu has just dropped a little deeper. It's a good effect. Vieira's out of the reckoning at the moment. Eranio, and now Bohinen.
I think Derby have done all right, Mark. I think they are. When you look at the first half, they've restricted Arsenal. I don't remember too many times seeing Pum flying across his goal, making saves.
Suddenly Vieira looks fine again as the ball ran under Bohinen's foot. Good tackle by Lawson, who is a strong character in this Derby side. Beck with space to run into. One chop.
Side net.
Well, it's the outside of the goal that One Chop struck with the shot. Mikkel Beck did well.
Well, I think that's what I mean. This is a little example when I think they've looked neat and tidy and they've caused problems. And this is an example of that. Lovely little run from one chop, just pulled behind Steve Bold. I think his first touch lets him down a little, forces him a touch wide. Goalkeeper's got that covered if it's on target. But it's another little warning. If Arsenal need any of that, there's a little bit of work to do in this game yet.
Overmars skips away from Delap, who has been booked. Kanu, not quite where Dixon wanted it, but he'll keep Arsenal going here. Parler. Again, Derby have regrouped. He just doesn't give them up, Nigel Winterburn, at an age where he might say, well, hang on, we're right on half-time here. If we concede a throw in this part of the pitch, it's not the biggest crisis in the world.
He's having a great season, man. I thought he was man of the match. I did anyway against Wimbledon here. It was fantastic. He's had an equally good first half here.
Petit. For Mark Overmars. The Derby defence was split, but Overmars could not quite.
Well, every Arsenal fan behind the goals pointing for a corner. They all think there was a touch here, probably off the lap. But what a ball and what a run. So many times Overmars has made that run inside his marker and got through. It's a great spot from Petit, great delivery. Well, maybe he did just get a bit on it, Delap. Took it away from a Flying Dutchman.
Flying Bold to win that header. One chop. That elastic movement of Paolo Wanchop. Kanu. Comes off Daryl Powell. And Bohinan's lost it for a second. Lee Dixon not giving it up. Anelka. It's typical of much of Derby's work, though, Bohinan's challenge. And it's kept them in the game when there have been periods in this first half when Arsenal have really threatened to stretch away. Arsenal, to remind you, have to go to Tottenham on Wednesday and all that entails. Then they have to go to Leeds 6 days after that. A match that we'll show for you live on Sky Sports. And it finishes here against Aston Villa for the Gunners. 2 weeks today.
Well, I think a lot of people would have watched this game at the start, Martin, wondering what kind of performance our opposition Derby were going to put up. I think first class, no one can have any complaints. They've conceded an early goal, but they've dug in. They've been competent at the back, quite strong, quite disciplined. And they've just been the odd threat that I've mentioned about at the other end.
But then there's been Nigel Winterburn.
Yeah.
And here he is, the architect for Arsenal.
Play him in, please. He's made a great run.
It's half-time. He can draw breath in the dressing room. The arch-professional Arsene Wenger will know that it's not completed here for Arsenal by any means. Nicolas Anelka, who went missing last Sunday, certainly here where you would expect him to be in front of goal at Highbury to give Arsenal the lead. A beautifully worked goal. And another indication of the wonderful potential in this young man. But Derby have dug in since then, restricted Arsenal to a large extent. And they're still in the game at half-time, which we reach at Arsenal 1, Derby County 0.
tomorrow. We've got 15 hours of live sport. At midday, it's Super League, Castleford against Bradford. Live cricket at 1:30. Hampshire against Warwickshire. 2 live games of football. At 2 o'clock, it's the Women's FA Cup final between Arsenal and Southampton. And at 5 from the Scottish Premier, the bottom 2 right now, Hearts against Dunfermline, who are bottom, 4 points adrift of Hearts. At 8 o'clock, more live Super League. Salford play Wigan. What a day. Well, at Highbury this afternoon, the champions lead Derby County by 1-0. Good enough if it finished now to give them the top spot again. But as Andy was saying during commentary, Derby County have more than fairly acquitted themselves during that first half. They picked up a couple of bookings along the way, Delap and Carbonari. And Arsenal, for the most part, have had the ball and asked questions, but Derby County are dangerous. Frank McClintock, the first double-winning captain, is our guest here this afternoon. I know you've enjoyed your day-to-date, but there is a warning there, isn't there, as Andy was saying. You can't rule Derby County out of this, can you?
No, you certainly can't, and when it's only 1 goal in it, even if Arsenal were more superior in the first half than they have been, it's still dangerous at 1-0. You know, it just needs a slip somewhere, a bit of magic from Derby, and the game's level, and then the pressure becomes on Arsenal.
There hasn't been an abundance of chances. This is the one that counted from Anelka. Glorious ball in from Ray Parlour. Maybe Derby County will feel he was off, but when you're this close, you've got to have the advantage as a forward, haven't you?
I think so, but I think it's a very dangerous game to try and catch someone offside by inches. And when that ball was played, I think Anelka was at least level. Probably when you see him getting onto the ball, he looks offside, but when the ball was played there.
What a great ball.
It was great strength of pass and a wonderful finish. I do think that Arsenal play like a continental side now, Richard, more than a typical British side. They don't bombard you. They sort of, just when I'm thinking, come on Arsenal, get into the game, you know, they do a lovely move like that. And you've seen it just before the end there. You've seen Overmars, instead of staying outside the full-back, cut across him and almost got a chance of a second goal.
Kanu, we talked about before the start. He has had an influence, of course, and maybe here he will feel that there was a penalty. And he felt obstruction at the very least, but he got nothing. Look at the skill there.
Well, the arms are going across and everything. I mean, I think in some grounds, especially, you know, if you're playing at home, very often those type of decisions are given for the home side. You know, the referee...
Is he elastic, isn't he?
Oh, he's quite an amazing player. He's a delight to watch, actually, you know. He's got such skill, he's got such big feet, and yet he's so nimble. He's got great awareness of where everybody is. I think that's his greatest talent. When he gets the ball, he's completely aware who's around him and who's free, and he just wiggles his way and then slips it into him. He's terrific to watch.
There was a warning close to half-time when Beck got Derby County moving and one chop hit the side netting. Again, down this end, these Derby County fans thought it was in, but fortunately, from Arsenal's point of view, that wasn't the case. But they've got to be careful, haven't they?
Nice flat run there. So he realised he was offside. He went behind Stevie Bold, got a terrific, powerful shot in. Seaman was over in a very good position there if it was goal-bound. I think he had it covered. Nevertheless, he is an unorthodox player. He's very quick. He's 6'3", you know, and if you don't give him a little bit of respect, he can turn it on you.
It's a fascinating title race. On we go. Arsenal right now are top, but there's 45 big minutes to come at Highbury today before our attention turns to Manchester United on Wednesday when they go to Liverpool. That's our live game, the same night that Arsenal go to Tottenham. Wherever it's won, we'll see it live on Sky Sports. The second half here comes next. Today is massive. The build-up starts to Celtic against Rangers on Sky Sports 3 at 5:30. They kick off at 6:05. If Rangers win that, then they are the champions again in Scotland. Tomorrow at 5 o'clock on Sky Sports 1, it's Hearts against Dunfermline. Hearts afloat, but only just. They're the bottom 2 in the Scottish Premier. Dunfermline 4 points adrift. They'll be closer, of course, if they win that. On Monday, it's Arsenal against Southampton, the Women's FA Cup final, 2 o'clock on Sky Sports 1. Wednesday night, make a note, 7 o'clock, same night that Arsenal go to Tottenham. We're live at Anfield with Liverpool and Manchester United. And on Friday night at 8 o'clock on Sky Sports 2, the first leg of the FA Youth Cup final between Coventry City and West Ham. 5 live games starting tonight over on Sky Sports 3 at 5:30 with Celtic and Rangers. So 1-0 at Highbury to the champions, and what a defence they've made of the title. Frank McClintock, the first double-winning captain, is our guest here today. Frank, it is, you get the impression, going all the way down to the wire, don't you?
I think so. I think Arsenal today are playing spasmodically. They're not really banging form, but they're coming in every now and again. A little bit, Ray Parlour's playing very, very close in midfield, very in instead of coming out. I'd like to see a little bit more width from
As long as
his
they
point
keep
of view.
winning, Manchester United have to keep winning.
Of
It'll be
course.
fascinating Wednesday when they both play on the same night.
Two tough games as well, Liverpool and Tottenham Hotspur. I mean, the last half a dozen games of the season really test the big boys out, don't they? Who's got the character to come
And
through
yet
it?
these fellas here are skipping about like it's the start of the season.
Well,
aren't
they're fresh as daisies. I mean, they really look very fit and energetic. But in talking about Arsenal all the time, you've got to say that Derby County are making it very difficult for them today, Richard. You know, it's not an easy task coming here at the end of the season. They've nothing really to go for it, except a possibility of an outside chance of Europe. But they're making it difficult for Arsenal. But Arsenal have got to raise their game a little bit, I think, in the second half.
A year ago today, remember, Arsenal won the title. Season runs a little later this year. Can they retain it? Second half, let's rejoin Andy Gray and Martin Tyler.
Thank you very much, Richard. Yes, Nicolas Anelka's goal looked as though it was going to ignite something along the lines of Wimbledon at home and Middlesbrough away. But to Derby's credit, Andy, that hasn't happened as yet.
Yeah, and at this level, Mark, you can't score 5 and 6 every game you go out and play. It's just impossible. And I think that, as I said, I think if at the end, and even if they have a stuttering 45 minutes here, Arsenal, I think Arsene Wenger's main concern is win the football match, go back top, return the pressure onto Manchester United.
No changes in either camp during the half-time break. Derby having had to make one substitution early in the game, Kevin Harper for Dion Burton. Here's Carbonari. The lap with a header forward, and Patrick Vieira coming deep to deal with that particular problem. Kanu. Parlour. Trying to take it on the burst. Just affected the tightness of the control. A miss-hit there by Adams, but the ball reached its intended target. Vieira. Here's Overmars. Grateful that he's working in the shade in the second half. Parlour. And it only seems a few days ago that players were operating in very low temperatures. Quite a shock to the system at this stage, and however enjoyable it is for fans and commentators alike to sit in their shirt sleeves, it does take its toll on players who aren't used to strife in the sunshine. Kanu just trying to glance it into where Petit was arriving through the centre. Kanu again. Larsson is the defender. Kanu gets his cross in. Header by Delap. Oh, it's a bit risky there by Ranio, but whether he was taking it down for himself or deliberately flicking it to Bohinen, I'm not sure. But interception there by Delap, with Overmars trying to get in behind him. Anyway, Derby got away with it on all fronts, on all counts. And here's Harper. And Jim Smith's side have got 5 players forward in this attack. Irania.
Yeah, I think they're happy to do that, Jim's side, the second half, Mark. I think when they get a chance to break, they will break with numbers. They will take a chance. They might take a little chance at the back, but look at that. 5 men forward, all in attacking positions, all in good areas. Just kind of fizzled out.
Well, with the impending retirement of Ron Atkinson, Jim Smith, the elder statesman of English club management. Overmars. Back for Petit. Vieira, but one shot caught him out. Bohinen. Beck got a touch, Eranio chasing. Maybe some concern for Arsenal here. Beck, back for Eranio, and he had two to look for at the far post from his point of view.
That's wasted, Martin, and it's wasted because it's one chop on the back post. He just pulls away. Look at one chop on Nigel Winterburn. I'd have fancied one chop to have won anything tossed high. It's not like Eranio. But again, nice, neat, tidy build-up. Got themselves well into the Arsenal 18-yard box, just lacking that final ball.
Long ball from Parler. To Lap with a height advantage against Overmars. After trying to get away from Winterburn, which takes a bit of doing. Kevin Harper came south from Hibs, Scotland under-21 international. Lawson. Well, he is left-sided, Daryl Powell. They're a bit short in that department with Dorigo injured, Schnoor injured. Powell filling that particular gap today. He's done it before. Kanu. Dixon prepared to get it down. And Arsenal build from here. Winterburn.
Patience, isn't it? That's what it's all about. Derby just filling back, dropping off. Arsenal probing, testing.
Well, when Derby do win it, they try to get forward, but in doing so here, they've lost the ball as quickly as they gained it, and one or two are caught out of position. Leaving Kanu with a chance to line up the shot. Struck Lawson despite the bellows for handball. The arm was hit by the shot. And it's Lawson and Kanu involved again. Free kick to Arsenal here.
Well, the ball struck Larsson's arm. There's no doubt in my mind about that, Martin, but he strikes it. I think it would have been harsh for so close had the referee pointed to the spot.
Easier decision second time around to give Arsenal the free kick for Larsson's foul. T and Overmars with a little conversation about it. Adams, of course, has gone forward. The team might have been trying to flick it up for him, but Derby were quick to get to him. It's been a feature of their play. That's a stray one by Carbonari. Nelka and Overmars, the Lap battling. Overmars again, lovely flick for Winterburn. It's ended with an Arsenal corner. Derby just caught overplaying a bit on the edge of their own penalty area, and they might pay a price for it because they've got this corner to now try and defend. Bold in his usual place. Adams coming from deeper. It's in towards Kanu, and just scramble back in the direction of Overmars. Oh. Well, Bold flung himself in, and that turned out to be a distraction in the end.
Yeah, he didn't get a header. He's looking for a diving header when they finally get this scrambled out, and it comes back in, and I don't know whether it's the Lap it comes off. He hasn't got a clue about it. Hits him on the right thigh.
The T with the corner. Goalkeeper hasn't got it. Belted away by Lars Bohinen. And that little spell of Arsenal pressure brought to a conclusion. But back they come again with Parler. Well, the longer it goes on at just 1-0, maybe the more anxious the crowd will become. More confident Derby will grow. Look at confidence there from Eranio. That was superb, stylish play.
Brilliant. You don't often see Petit and Vieira embarrassed in two flicks of the right boot, but they were then.
And he comes from good stock, doesn't he, Aranio, with Milan, European honours, former Italian international. So that was superb. Derby have got a free kick. They haven't exactly got Arsenal on the run here, but they're bothering them. Lawson has plenty of height on it, and Winterburn, awkward ball to defend. Anelka popping it to the left-hand side. Overmars. Bohinen trying to get back to protect Pryor, but Overmars opts to pass it. Anelka makes up the ground. Kanu, where does he go from here? Is he going to take them all on? Has to use Anelka. And it was Harper who found himself in the point of real danger there for Derby, and he got it away.
Well, Anelka's pace made this. But once Kanu got the ball, man, what I was amazed at, no Arsenal player makes a move into the 18-yard box. Everyone pulls away. No one's interested in getting in there until Petit finally tries to get in from late. Quite incredible.
Almost 10 minutes gone in the second half. Petit with the corner, Horn with the catch. Bohinen sprinted away down in front of us to try and collect a throw that the goalkeeper didn't want a chance. Split by Delap. Harper with a back heel that was a bit on the blind side, I think. Well, Aranio's pass may be made to look worse than it was by Beck putting on the brakes. Vieira. Flag goes up against Overmars.
I wonder if Arsene Wenger will think about freshening it, Mark. By that, I mean he has Diawara and Bergkamp. I see them both out warming up. It's a big game. He knows it was a great performance from Kanu and Anelka last weekend. He knows his team are not quite firing the way they have. He might just decide that to take the front two off, bring the other two on, just to liven it up a little bit for his team.
That's Aranio almost back heel hit through to Daryl Powell. Free kick given Arsenal's way.
But you're right about Derby, Martin. They're bothering them. They're like a boil at the moment. You know, they're just niggling away. You can feel them. You know they're there. But Arsenal haven't quite been able to lance them as yet.
Well, it's typical of the way Derby have been when they've come to Highbury over the last couple of years. Arsene Wenger's got a lot of respect for them. And that respect, well merited. But as yet, we haven't seen too many David Seaman saves, so that tells you that Derby are doing well in certain sections of the pitch, but not in the part where they might really threaten Arsenal's lead. But at 1-0, it only takes one moment. Bolt.
Nowhere to go. That's the problem at times for Arsenal. Patience, but they're having problems. Derby filling holes with players, with bodies. That's typical of it there. Eventually, Parler's forced to play a pass, and well, Larsson's tight on him.
Showing he's given away a free kick. The ball came back.
Well, it's dominant, isn't it? You look at that. I can't remember seeing too many teams dominate possession like that. But I think that Derby have been happy to allow that. I think that's been part of it.
And it's really been a style that's helped Jim Smith get a side to become competitive in the Premiership after promotion a couple of years ago. Quite prepared to draw opponents on, home or away. Aranio, balked by Vieira. Remember, a lot of these players were absolutely shattered in the visitors' dressing room here a couple of months ago. Quarter-final of the FA Cup. Derby heading for a replay at Pride Park. And then up popped Kanu. Harper. Skips past Adams, going square though. Aranio. One shot coming deep and getting some space by doing so. That's Carbonari. Hit that harder than the free kick in the first half, but Couldn't keep it down, but moving in to an area to threaten Arsenal. That's what they haven't been doing, really.
It's the first time I've seen him that far forward. I just wonder if it's a little measure of, not desperation from Derby, but getting into the last half hour, maybe sensing one or two nerves around Arsenal players. Certainly the fans are just a tad anxious, I think, Mark, without their second goal. We saw the fate that befell Chelsea when they thought they'd won a game only, what, 2 weeks ago, home to Leicester.
Lovely link up between Bohinen and Beck. One chop. Adams forcing him wide and making sure Arsenal for the moment concede only a throw. He's certainly not thinking about just sitting on the lead. Tony Adams trying to get some tempo into Arsenal's breakout then, although he slipped. And they begin with Bold here. Overmars. Ranio stepping in. Harper. One or two elusive moments, but that's gone astray. And here's Kanu. Anelka. Now Carbonari needed all the start that he had then.
Yeah, there's only one winner off level. Carbonari, as I said, he's playing deep, he's playing as a sweeper. Gave himself about 10 yards there, that was important.
I think that was Adams' ball, but he made it his. Petit and Vieira not in total command here at Highbury in midfield, as they so often have been.
Nowhere to go, Martin. It's absolutely congested.
Overmars. And there's no great reason for Jim Smith to change this as yet, because he might get more mileage out of frustrating Arsenal than really changing the style, maybe letting one or two off the leash to get forward. And as we have said, when they have got the ball, they do allow players to push on. Ray Harper there on that Derby bench as well. Great experience of this type of football match.
Well, there will be a change, Martin, but it'll be Arsenal that are making it. It'll be the golden boy, Dennis Bergkamp. Makes sense to me, I think, in a match like this.
Powell. Beck. They're all the way back from Larson. One-chop, Rory Delap, who's a good strong runner, was prepared to set off then. It wasn't the best ball back to him. And Winterberg handing out another lesson to the youth of the Premiership. But Arsenal haven't profited from that. One-chop. Beck. Oh, and it's flashed over the top by Daryl Powell.
That's all it takes, Martin. That's all it takes. They haven't threatened, but finally put a move together. Overmars a bit sloppy. I don't think he wanted the ball in there. Having done so well, Nigel gave him a ball in an area he wouldn't have wanted it. This is a lovely little set-up for Powell. He's a bit unlucky that it arrived awkwardly at him. It's sat up for him.
He's only ever scored one goal in the Premiership, Daryl Powell, and it was in the net that he was trying to find then over 2 years ago. Not Kanu's day today. And on comes Dennis Bergkamp. Top caliber replacement, not in the starting lineup today. If you missed the earlier news, not 100% fit, but Arsenal feeling that they've got to use him.
Well, I think this chance, Martin, watch what I mean about the setup. Now, if Mikael Beck can set it up so that Powell's just hitting it, then he doesn't need to touch. But you can see how it bounced up to him. Probably a corner, looked like it came off Tony Adams. But had he been able just to strike it, had the setup been perfect, he might well, David Seaman, be picking out the back of his net. And all that possession would have gone for nothing.
Celtic against Rangers with the title at stake. Kick-off 6:05. Sky Sports 3. And it's the Women's FA Cup final tomorrow. Sky Sports 1 and Arsenal in that final against Southampton from 2 o'clock. Join us for that. Winterburn's pass. Overmars getting it across the face of the goal on the run. Palm attracted to it. Touching it, and it's a corner.
Yeah, and all he needs is a shout.
As in the first half.
Yeah, I mean, and even in this one, man, I don't think he needs a shout. I think he should know what's around him, have a picture of it. That's no threat, that cross. But he has put his team under pressure.
And this corner could be a threat. It ease some Arsenal anxieties here. And Bold. Came round the back this time.
Just didn't reach it. Just didn't reach it in time. It's a little bit ahead of him. He's a little bit of stretch, you could see. Couldn't quite get round the back of the ball. He's almost square onto it. Couldn't direct it back across goal.
Well, we're deep into game 35 for Arsenal in the season. They've only conceded 15 goals, but a lot of good work could go to waste if they concede number 16 in these circumstances.
That would be unusual. I mean, I don't know, I haven't looked, Matt, but I guess I wouldn't think a team like Arsenal has conceded in 3 consecutive league matches. Conceded against Wimbledon, conceded against Middlesbrough.
You don't know? I mean, you...
No, I'll leave that to you. I'll concentrate in the game. I would be surprised, though, if they've conceded in 3 consecutive league matches.
Aranio. Here's Lars Bohina, who was with Blackburn when they were the last side to beat Arsenal in the league at Highbury, getting on for 18 months ago. Bohina again. Broken up by Vieira. Now this is more like Patrick Vieira and Arsenal. Comes off Pryor and it comes back Derby's way. Beck. Bohina. Now Wanchop. Beck working hard to keep things going, making himself available. Vieira needed some help there, and a call. Arsenal looking anxious. Derby with nothing to lose in these circumstances.
And a growing of confidence, no doubt of that. What's more than confidence, man? I think belief. Around, you look at the Derby players and encouraging people to come forward.
Whether it's just the wonderful conditions here, the national, indeed international television audience for the match, or the fact that they've got some cause for revenge with those cup exits in the Worthington competition and the FA Cup. They're giving it a real go at Highbury.
I think it's all of those.
Seaman's throw. There's a probing ball for Arsenal. Overmars on the run. Bergkamp and Anelka with the Dutchman, but Overmars goes on. Oh, and Spencer Pryor gets congratulations all round, but Overmars rather made it easy for him by miskicking in the end.
Great break, wonderful spin from Overmars and running into the gap, and I think he should win the game for Arsenal. If he doesn't score himself after skipping past Larsson, he's got Anelka, he's got Bergkamp. Either with a quite simple pass would surely have won the game for Arsenal. I think he knows it.
Well, Bohinen goes off, and on comes 17-year-old Adam Murray, his second Premiership appearance. Adam's having problems with the sun. Bergkamp. T is there if he needs him, which he does. Parlour can let fly. It struck Darryl Powell, I think still feeling the effects of that collision as he had the brief sight at the Arsenal goal a moment or two ago. Anelka fires on the ground. Murray's getting in there to try and sort it out. Adam Murray, regarded as a real promising young talent by Derby. He's a midfield player who likes to get on the ball and pass it, and be impressed in his appearance in difficult circumstances at Upton Park recently. Hurt in that incident. Pryor. Delap. He was a bit lucky it struck a player close to him then. Might have played it across straight to Overmars. Untidy passage of play, but it rather typifies the sense of drama here. Arsenal looking to secure the 3 points, and Adam Murray trying to come on here and play his part in Derby's defensive strategy, and more, of course, if he can get on the ball more than that. It's a booking for the youngster.
Yeah, no arguments. Just goes to ground, lunges in. Was an untidy passage, there's no doubt about that, but he did the right thing. He actually tried to spread the play, Mark, play it wide, hit the ball against one of his own players, but the idea was right.
Lawson tight on Bergkamp. When Derby came here in the FA Cup, they put a man-for-man on Dennis Bergkamp. It was Lee Carsley who's left for Blackburn Rovers since then. I don't know whether Lawson will now be given a specific job. Maybe Andy will keep an eye on that for us.
No, nothing's happening with that at the moment. Dennis Bergkamp's just been allowed to roam where he wants, Mark. Nearest player's picking him up.
Vieira. Flew at Petit. Bolt. Is one going to be enough here for Arsenal? It came inside the first 15 minutes from Nicholas Anelka. Parlour, pass 2. And takes on 3 more. Dixon's cross. Delap prepared to take the touch. Vieira. Again, Derby hounding him. Wanchop, who doesn't always work quite as hard as this, but he certainly put it in today. Petit. Overmars puts the cross in, comes off the head of Lawson.
One of those strange days as a player, and Arsenal players will feel this and know it, that you just have to accept sometimes, and you know when you're not quite firing. And Arsenal players will know this hasn't been a great performance from them, from one of frustration. But what I think they will also know, Martin, is the importance of not making a mistake, not losing discipline or concentration. And if it has to be 1-0, then so be it. They'll take 1-0.
As it was a year ago. Of course, the league table was different then, but it was just as important to get the 3 points that night when Petit did it, although it was at the cost of Bergkamp. And Derby's strength forced an injury on him. Here he is coming back into the team today from the bench. Murray, very neatly. Delap. Bet calling for an early ball through the centre. Pryor. Harper. Pryor will go on, but Boulder, strong favourite to get there first. Well, no Manchester United fan can complain about the effort that Derby have put in. Bowles' header. Oh, and Vieira's put it nervously straight up in the air. And then a header that has Powell and Arania, was it, confusing each other. David Seaman had to scamper, and Arsenal quickly lose the ball again. There's a sense of concern at Highbury. Wanchop. Here's Arania. Murray looking for Delap. Winterburn was looking for Overmars but didn't find it. Pryor. Beck. Delap. Scramble sort of clearance by Winterburn.
Who's
Murray.
dominating possession now at the moment? It's a concern.
It might give Arsenal some space to counter-attack into. I would enjoy that. Still with the pace of Anelka on the pitch and Overmars. Here's Petit. That space was shut down by the covering capacity of Carbonari.
Confident air about him, Adam Murray. Young kids, come on. As if he's been playing there all his life at this level. I think he must be a little anxious, Arsene Wenger. I'm just looking over, and Stephen Hughes, I think, is the one who's been called back. Tracksuits off, ready to go.
Winterburn. No offside. Overmars. Now, can he pick out the right cross this time? Bergkamp claims he was sent tumbling there. Neil Barry says play on. Petit. Vieira. Parla can hit one, but it's rather in keeping with Arsenal's second half performance.
Nigel Winterburn again, Martin. What a ball he fed Overmars, but he had lack of options. When you see the tackle come in, it's clumsy. I don't think it's a penalty. I think the referee's right on the spot, gave the right decision.
That's the end of it for Overmars for today. Stephen Hughes has missed a lot of football since breaking an arm in the FA Cup tie here against Derby. But it's undoubtedly a defensive move by Arsene Wenger. No Nelson Vivas, who he is often brought on in these circumstances to try and help shore things up. He's suspended today.
Well, I just think they would have been concerned about the little bit of joy Derby have had down this right-hand side, Martin. We know Overmars' defensive attributes are not his greatest. Stephen Hughes, you would imagine, would fill that part of the game a little bit better.
Man of the match, 0660, 111, 22, 33. Something of a war of attrition here. But as we've stressed so often today, winning is what it's about for Arsenal. Anything less than that will be seen as a disaster. Dixon. Maybe a chance for a second goal here, which you would feel would ensure the win. Carbonari got a touch to it. He's played very deep. Not allowed himself to be exposed for lack of pace against the sprinters. Petit. Well read by Delap. Bit of overconfidence there from Murray. Bergkamp. Whether he was looking to chip Porm as a huge goalkeeper, I'll try and cut it back for Vieira, who'd gone on. Wasn't quite clear. It's
Former, I think, Martin. Definitely looking to chip the goalkeeper, I felt. Always looking for the extravagant Dennis.
Well, it's Diawara. Kevin Harper, who was a substitute early in the game for Dion Burton, is now being taken off himself. And on comes a player who I'm sure will be new to you, Marvin Robinson, who's just turned 19. He's a striker. He comes from the Wolverhampton area. And this is his Premiership debut. And as he comes on, Nicholas Anelka, the scorer of the game's only goal, goes off. So Arsenal have made their full roster of substitutions. And so too of Derby.
He's a good player, Aranio. Mark, you can see why he's got so much quality. Played football the right way and in the right places. Even at 32, still extremely skillful, talented.
Free kick to Derby. Who've kept themselves in the contest, taken by Carbonari. Oh, and Seaman has lost it.
Handball. I think he's given handball. Yes, one chop.
Has given that. And Derby's delight is wiped out. Some complaints from Spencer Pryor.
You were right to be concerned, Mark, as you saw Seaman come out, because I thought he got under it as well. Got fingers on it. You look where his starting position, his edge is 6-yard box, and he steps out. He doesn't quite get it. I mean, I think one chop's unlucky. How one chop knows where the ball is when he ain't even facing it, Mark, is beyond me. And his arm comes up. Smashes it in, but...
Well, that's the point of contact that the referee ruled on. And that's how close it is for Arsenal. Well, it's a yellow card for one chop. It didn't look as deliberate as Diego Armando Maradona all those years ago.
Yeah.
Certainly a talking point. Neil Barry was in a pretty good position to make his assessment. One chop pushing up again on Adams. Lovely play from Paolo Wanchop and matched by Adams in the very nick of time. Here's Murray. Hit Vieira in the face, bounced Arsenal's way to Diawara. Hughes. Arsenal have lost their poise, there's no doubt about that. Will they lose their lead?
Well, they've got the skipper to thank, Martin, for a wonderful piece of defending. Because one chop, I mean, we've talked about, have we seen the likes of Kanu? I think this guy one chops is close. And look at the way he's in. He's about to chest it down and go in and goal. And Adams, who at one time was looked beaten, suddenly just got that right foot down to hook it away. But a nervy last 8 minutes in this match.
Free kick against Arsenal again.
Well, it doesn't surprise me. I talked about this in the first half. I thought Derby had showed enough and Arsenal weren't quite at it, if you like.
Bold. Misjudged by Winterburn, headed forward by Murray. Bold is there again, Murray's there again. Comes out to Delap. Here's a Robinson. These all seem long minutes for Arsenal.
Well, he's anxious. You don't often see him concerned, Arsene Wenger. His concern is evident.
Real study in agitation there at the moment. Mark Overmars staying on the touchline to watch it, see it through. The mouth of the tunnel. He can't be sure But they're going to get the points. Powell, Murray. Cross for Larson. In terms of the shape of the play, Derby in the driving seat. Arsenal continue to lead. Hughes did well to get a foot in there. Diawara. Not too much support. Still looking for his first goal, the French forward for Arsenal. A good time to get it, wouldn't it, in these circumstances, to settle the nerves. But they were really leaving it all to him.
Well, I mean, this is football that we saw Arsenal play first half, Martin, that Derby are playing. Popping it about, lovely movement, little unlucky with a layback for Beck from one chop. And I think keep the ball is a message to Arsenal players they should be getting. Possession football.
Hughes. Bergkamp. Fowler slowing it down. Adams deciding that attack is maybe the best form of defence in these circumstances. He's on the gallop. The ball was played towards Diawara. Arsenal's throw. Adams decides that it's time to get back. Well, there were some anxious moments at Old Trafford, the closing moments yesterday, but nothing quite like this. White knuckle time. Diawara. By corner, it'll take a bit of time. Yeah. Fatih's corner. Diawara again appeals for handball. Answered in the negative by Neil Barrett.
Poor header that, Mark, from Diawara. Lovely ball in, free header. Made very little contact on the ball.
One chop. Murray. Lawson. He's picked out Beck. Still full of running, the Dane. Darryl Powell's lost it. Brought out by Petit. Diawara. Back with Dixon. Not too many Arsenal players wanting to charge forward in these circumstances. In fact, only another Diawara, and he was hardly on the charge.
Well, I think the concern, as I say, I think it's possession now. They don't want to be giving possession away when they have it. Game's won. I know it's only 1-0, but discipline, concentration.
And they haven't played with the real poise in the second half to be confident in possession. Derby have dug deep. They've refused to just come here to enjoy the occasion. They're looking to get a result for their own purposes. And that after conceding a goal relatively early in the game. Was it going to drop per one chop? Great stop by Seaman. Here's Robinson. Oh. He really could have made a name for himself.
What a save. What a save from David Seaman. This is basically nothing to do, Martin, but this is why he's one of the best. One chop again, causing Tony Adams all sorts of problems. And having committed himself, well, David went all the way out. That was important, didn't back away. What a big, big save that might be. Look at the frustration in Arsene Wenger. He'll be glad, sorry, Matt, he'll be glad to see the back of Derby, won't he?
Well, Derby left the pitch heartbroken, a late goal. Arsenal, that was the FA Cup quarter-final. Arsenal would have felt the same, been an equaliser. But the big goalkeeper spread himself, and by far his most important contribution to this particular contest.
Offside. Went up late.
The linesman had kept his flag pointed to say you'd taken it from the wrong place.
That was about 2 yards forward. I mean, that's ridiculous. 95 yards away from goal.
The letter of the law being applied. Still not sure it's exactly along that line.
Let's get the measure out.
Form still gets it up towards the head of Pryor, but Bold beats him. Making a nuisance of himself again. There's not much room there for Vieira to do that, but he's got away with it, and Diawara pops it off to Ray Parlour. Diawara, it's a nice turn. Vieira.
Keep it, that's what I say.
Dixon. Parlour, back to Lee Dixon again. Arsenal trying to run down the clock. We go into time added on, but have lost the possession again. The air of confidence wasn't there even when they put 5 or 6 passes together through midfield. We get a free kick here which will help the cause. Petit takes it. It's only 1 extra minute to be added on. Parlour looking to use it. Hughes had a crack. Petit. Here's Bergkamp. Vieira jogs outside him. Derby can't get the ball, and that's good news for Arsenal. But then big Spencer Pryor steps in. A good signing he's been for Jim Smith from Leicester. Winterburn. Vieira. Crowd want the final whistle here. They've been feeling that for some time. Diawara. Well, it's a positive finish from Parlour, no doubt about that. That's in his nature. Arsenal have a corner. There'll be scarcely time to take it.
They won't worry. They won't rush now. Just needed that to relieve the pressure, the anxiety around the ground, and the fans and the manager and the players. That should be it.
Keep it in the corner. It's the tactic here. Then Petit does cross. Neil Barry looks at his watch, blows the final whistle. Arsenal win nervously in the end. Derby gave it their best shot, but in the end they haven't been able to help Manchester United. Nicolas Anelka's early goal was enough. It's as you were at the start of the weekend. Arsenal back on top, 1 point their lead over Manchester United, who have 1 game in hand, and Chelsea 3 points further back in third. A goal that was from Anelka, a goal that wasn't from Wanchop, a dramatic David Seaman save. He certainly did his bit at the end. And the defending champions will not let go. They head for White Hart Lane. What a test that's going to be. Manchester United are making their plans for Anfield. Chelsea play Leeds. That's all on Wednesday. Our final score at Highbury. A close call. Arsenal have won it 1-0.
God, it's getting tense, isn't it? Still to come tonight here on Sky Sports 1 at 6:30. Live basketball, the championship final between the Thames Valley Tigers and the London Towers. It's followed at 9 by action for today's Superbike racing at Donington Park. There's rugby union over on Sky Sports 2 now, Newcastle against Leicester, and at 8 golf from the US Tour. And over on Sky Sports 3 now, they're about to kick off in the big game from Scotland this weekend, Celtic against Rangers. The title's on the line there, a win for Rangers, and it's there. And that's followed at 8:30 by Spanish football, Athletic Bilbao against Atletico Madrid. And remember, tomorrow, 15 hours worth of live sport, including more action from the Scottish Premier League and the Ladies FA Cup final. Huge relief at Highbury. Arsenal are back on top. We'll get all the reaction and the thoughts of Frank McClintock when we come back. We're not finished yet, not by a long way. .35 this season. Attempts at goal, 12, only hit the target 3 times, only once in the second half, and that was the thumping drive from Parlour very late on. So, critical as we were of Chelsea last week, not much better really from Arsenal today. The big difference, of course, is that they have won the match. Nicolas Anelka's goal in the first half, which they dominated for the most part in those action areas. The possession look across the 90-odd minutes, ball in play, 62.5, that's very good. Now then, the man of the match. The goal scorer's got 14%. Vieira's polled. Nigel Winterburn at last has won it. Well, here he is with the goalkeeper, whose crucial save late on gave Arsenal the win, really, you could argue. And they're both speaking with George Gavin.
David, Nigel, well played. Nigel, it was a vital 3 points, wasn't it? But why was it so nerve-wracking?
Well, I think if you look at the games against Derby previously, we've only won by the odd goal. They sat right back on us today, invited us forward and tried to catch us on the counter-attack. And if your passing's not spot on, like it wasn't today at times, you know, you just have to try and grind out results, which we did today.
David, well played. Some scary moments at the end, though, wasn't there?
Yeah, they're always going to be. You know, when you leave it that long and it's 1-0, Derby started getting into it at the end. You know, they had their one chance at the end, they saved it, and that was that. But you know, the lads found it hard today because, you know, obviously the heat was an important factor, but we've got the win.
Some reaction from the 5s and 6s?
A little bit maybe, but you can't always win them like that.
Any trouble at all from your England injury this week with the finger?
No, it's come out okay. You know, my shoulder's giving me a bit of grief again, but no, I'm fine.
Nigel, big night on Wednesday, isn't it? Who's got the tougher game? Manchester United at Liverpool, or you at Tottenham?
Well, they're all tough. I mean, Tottenham are not going to want to let us win over there. And, you know, you've got Liverpool and Man United who, you know, don't like each other that much. So it's going to be a hard game for both of us. And, you know, Chelsea is still hanging around. So, you know, people are forgetting them. But, you know, they're still there as well.
David, is a simple equation now. You've got to win your games and hope they slip up?
Yeah, exactly. That's what we're waiting for. You know, if we can put the pressure on, you know, the more pressure, the better.
Okay. Nigel's man of the match. The Carling champagne for him. Nigel, well played. David, thanks very much.
Well done, Nigel. And Jeff Kircher from Guildford in Surrey wins the replica jersey today. Frank McClintock, the first double-winning captain from Highbury, has been our guest here. I'm not sure if you've enjoyed it, Frank. It was a very nervous 15-20 minutes at the end, wasn't it?
Yeah, it certainly was. I was saying at half-time that Arsenal were a little bit spasmodic today, and they were the same in the second half as well. And Derby certainly gave us a few frights in the last 10 minutes especially, when they, as Nigel Winterburn said, they soaked them on and then they did some breakaways. It was a handball, but I mean, there was no foul on David Seaman, I don't think. It was just the one-shop's hand coming up that caused, that could have been a goal. And then it was a magnificent save from David Seaman about 5 minutes later. That game could have turned around, but thankfully they've won it.
But over the 90 minutes, you think Arsenal deserved to win?
Yes, I do actually, but it was never an easy game. You know, they could never settle down and think they've done everything, and it was, they were always in the game, and it's only 1-0. You know, it's difficult.
That's a tremendous strike, isn't it, from Vieira?
Yeah.
Nigel Winterburn talked about the passing not being spot on. That was evident at different times, but the one ball from Parlour here to Anelka for the goal, well, that was wonderful, wasn't it?
Oh, that was a terrific goal, a lovely pass from him, from Ray Parlour, and a great goal from Anelka. Unfortunately, you know, when they were talking about the man of the match, I mean,
might have been offside, but as we said at half-time, it's the forward in those situations who should have the advantage, isn't it?
well, if you're level anyway, as you know, Richard, that is your own side, and I think he was just a bit level there. But I think if Derby are trying to play offside in that situation, it is extremely dangerous.
Might have been a penalty, as you said. Another day on another ground, maybe.
Yeah, that has been given, you know, other grounds before. I think Derby might have felt, you know, it's just two guys going for the ball and a guy sandwiched between them. But it has been given before. But it wasn't a dirty game. There have been two previous encounters between the two teams that are very, very tough. This one wasn't a really dirty game.
The intent before half-time from Derby County. One shot was close. They could never relax, could they, today?
No, they could not.
It's all right at 5 and 6, but
yeah, that's right.
Otherwise you've got to keep working, haven't you?
Yeah, you know, Nigel Winterburn was saying that. You can't always get the terrific goals and the score going the way you want it to go, and then you all bring out the freedom in the play. But you've still got to win your matches, and that's very, very important. Whether you play well or not, you've got to learn how to take your games. And
last week, of course, it was the forwards, and the week prior to that, they got all the credit. Today, it's that famous back five back together again.
Yep, strong as anything, but even then, even though they're such a great team, they were under extreme pressure in the last 10 minutes there. This is a chance here for Overmars. We thought he might have done a little bit better.
Just gets a push there, look.
Yeah, but the referee gave advantage to him. He's an actual right-footed player, even though he plays on the left, and sometimes his left foot crossing isn't always as good as the right.
This is the moment. A real heart stop.
Yeah.
Seaman probably came too far, didn't he?
Yeah, I thought David Seaman come under the ball there, and if One Shop's hand hadn't have come up there, that would have been a goal.
But he has a look, the centre forward, there.
Yeah, that was definitely a handball, no question about it. A good spot by the linesman, not for the Derby fans, they didn't enjoy it. But One Shop can be an awkward player. This was a magnificent rescue overhead kick from Tony Adams, because I fancied One Shop to score there.
It really was all hands to the pumps, wasn't it, in the last 10-15 minutes? In they come again, look.
Now, look at One Shop. I mean, 6'3" himself. He's against Tony Adams. Normally, Tony Adams and co seem to win all the headers, but when you've got guys like this up against him, they make it very difficult to get a clean header.
It's a marvellous save, isn't it? Having come, he's got to make it.
Brilliant save that was with Seaman. I mean, I think that saved the game for Arsenal, actually. That could have been a draw very easily, and who knows what could have happened.
And how often do you see that?
Well, I can't remember seeing Arsene Wenger ever losing his temper. I mean, so it shows that there's a bit of tension there.
It's all right if you're neutral. If you're not, Forest are relegated. Charlton and Blackburn, after the goalless draw at the Valley this weekend, slip into the bottom three. Southampton, and very timely, out of the bottom three for the first time this season. They go to Wimbledon next. Coventry there on 40 points now with Everton and Sheffield Wednesday. Then it's Wimbledon, Newcastle and Leicester. Spurs halfway. They entertain Arsenal on Wednesday night, Derby-Stay night. Then it's Liverpool, Middlesbrough, West Ham, Villa, Leeds, Chelsea, Manchester United. Arsenal back on top, 1 point ahead of Manchester United, who go to Liverpool on Wednesday night, and we've got that one live on Sky Sports 1. But the champions are back on top, and here's the manager, Arsene Wenger, with George Gavin.
Arsene, you said before the game that after the 5s and 6s you'd accept 1-0 with open arms, but it was a bit nervous, wasn't it?
It was a bit nervous because it's not easy today because there was a lot of heat and the players said it was really warm, especially first half. And after that maybe we were a bit nervous because we couldn't score the second goal in the last hour. We're not really fluent in our passing, and when we got tired we had problems to link the passes, to get 2-3 passes together, and of course after you get a little bit scared.
Anelka the winner, but David Seaman the hero?
Yes, he scored an important goal, Nicholas, today, and we had the game now. I think the experience at the back is important, especially in the last 10 minutes where we don't panic and always make the right thing. So it was both, I would say. Offensively, this goal was very important, and defensively, our experience was important.
Your predictions haven't been very good this season, have they? You thought 75 points would win it, and Chelsea were the favourites. So what do you think now?
I still think that Chelsea is in a race because they can make 77 because they play still at home 2 out of the last 3, and 77 will win it, I think, but I'm not sure. I was wrong the first time, why not the second time?
Gerard Houllier, is he a friend of yours? Will you give him a call and ask him to pull out all the stops against Manchester United?
No, I call him sometimes, but not especially because they play Man United. I think he's a manager and he's a winner, so he will try to win any way. Is he a friend with me or not? They won yesterday, and you have seen today how difficult it is every game. So I would say we just go from game to game, don't look too much at the others. Of course, we need some good results on our side in as well. One or two other good results for us, but we know the only thing we can do is to try to play well and to win our games.
Who has the tougher game on Wednesday, at Liverpool or at Tottenham?
That's always very difficult. I would say both are difficult, but we know with the London derby to go to Tottenham will be very difficult for us.
Is it simple though for you that you have to win your games and hope they slip up?
We want to win our games, and of course we can just think if we win our games we have a good chance, but that's all we can do. We have not to calculate too much. On one side it's good, you just know we have to go into the next game and you have a great desire to win it. That's all you can do.
He's been such a vital goal scorer for you this season, Nicolas Anelka, and there seems to be always stories about him leaving at the end of the season. Will he be still here next season?
I believe so, yes, because I think he's happy here, and of course when you have a good player every week you read a story about him leaving, but what is important for me is how the player feels and how he performs, and for a player of 20 years of age, what he has done this season is amazing, not only on the pitch but even physically, not only technically and tactically but physically. What he has done this year is amazing.
Thank you, Arsene.
Thank you, Dan.
It's interesting that, isn't it? He hasn't ruled Chelsea out. If only they believed they were still in it, but you get the impression at Stamford Bridge that they don't.
Well, Arsene Wenger's very cagey in what he says. Maybe in the quiet, maybe he thinks it's just between Manchester United and Arsenal. I actually think it is between those two. I think Chelsea have blown it last week, and this Premiership will go right to the very last game.
He's smiling there, but for the first time almost today, signs that, well, it's even beginning to get to him, look, understandably as well.
Oh, very much
Last
so.
10 minutes, this.
Yeah.
Look at the hands there.
He's so calm normally, isn't he? He always tells Pat Rice to keep quiet, Pat, in his French accent, keep quiet. And all of a sudden, he's jumping up himself like a lunatic, which is nice to see occasionally. The pressure must get to you at different times. So close to it.
It's not funny. It eats away at you, doesn't it? Especially when it's as tense and as tight as that.
We see Alex Ferguson doing that every
Look,
week.
last
so
5
we're
minutes,
used to
we
it.
were watching him. Out of the dugout at last,
Yeah,
look.
didn't it?
Get that whistle blown.
Yeah, a quiet resolution about him, isn't it? You know, he's just as determined as Alex Ferguson in his own way. You know, Alex been a fantastic manager over the years, but he is an extraordinary manager, I think, and he does it in a completely different style to Alex Ferguson, but just as determined.
And his team are back on top of the Carling Premiership. Another break. When we come back, we'll turn our attention to the tension at the top of the First Division. Point or more for Ipswich today at Birmingham would give them second place. Could they get it? We'll find out when we come back.
Commitment.
We'll see how Ipswich got on at Birmingham very shortly, but here, one goal was enough. 1-0 to the Arsenal. It took the champions back to the top of the league, and of course the spotlight now falls on Anfield on Wednesday night when Manchester United play Liverpool. On the same night, Arsenal go to Tottenham. We're live at Anfield, and we'll of course have action from White Hart Lane during the course of the evening. But just the one goal here today, Frank, early on. It's funny, isn't it? When he scored, I think the reaction in here was, well, that just might be enough today, and so it proved to be.
Well, in previous matches, 2 prior matches to that, they went on to score about 6 goals, you know, and we thought there might have been a flood, but they make it very difficult, Derby. They get so many men behind the ball.
Got the benefit of the decision.
Yep.
But what a finish.
It was a great finish. It was a borderline decision. But if you are going to play offside, you should catch people offside by 3 or 4 yards, not by a couple of inches. It's too dangerous. I think he might have been just onside there. But he took great advantage of it. It was a terrific strike right across the goalkeeper, right into the far
That
post.
one Andy loves, of course, as well. Across the goalkeeper.
Yeah,
if you
you
don't
always
score,
got a
maybe
chance.
someone comes in.
Yeah, the goalkeeper, if he gets a save, pushes it into the path of someone else coming in. If you do it near post and you miss, you get no chance in.
I'm sure there's 1 or 2 Manchester United fans out of their seats when they thought one chop had scored, but both the linesman and the referee were very quick to see a handball in here. Mind you, David Seaman might feel he was a bit fortunate.
I think he was, and he's supposed to have dodgy fingers at the moment, and he certainly went underneath that ball, and I thought that was a goal, and then all of a sudden we had a replay of it, and you've seen One Chop's hand coming up here.
Has a look there.
And he just knocks it out of David Seaman's hands, and good spot by the linesman there. but we were up to here for the last 5 or 10 minutes.
You were?
Well, I was, yeah. You're a neutral,
Let's
yeah.
pause. Here's Jim Smith with George Gavin.
Jim, you promised Arsenal a tough game, but it wasn't quite enough, was it?
I thought it was a tough game. I don't know what you thought, George.
It was, but it wasn't quite enough to stop them.
No, it was a tough game.
Could you have done more?
Well, we could have done more, obviously. If you look, when you look at the video, we possibly had the best situations, but as all season, our cutting edge hasn't been there. And having said that, Seaman made a brilliant block just at the death to have got us a draw that I felt we deserved.
Do you think you had claims for either a penalty or a goal towards the end then?
I didn't see one shot handle the ball, but I think all hands went up together, and the referee actually saw one shot stand, probably because it was black, I think, but and against the white ball. But when he took it over Adams' head and went in on goal, I thought it was pulled back. I thought there was a reasonable claim for a penalty. Yeah.
You've come here a few times now and gone away really just being edged out, haven't you?
Yeah, we've lost the last 3 times we've been here. We've lost 1-0 each time, you know, and very similar circumstances, to be fair. We just didn't have enough in the first half with the situations which were going to be rare, but they were there. And as I said, final ball, final touch, final decision wasn't sharp enough, and that's been our problem all year.
And the injuries you've got at the moment, was that the youth team coming off the bench in the second half?
I couldn't remember the names or the numbers. When he asked me the numbers, I didn't even remember the names, half of them. But it was, again, young Adam Murray came on and was very, very pleasing. That is nice to see that, and young Marvin wasn't frightened by it all. You know, he didn't have a lot to show himself, but that was good.
As an impartial observer, Jim, how do you see the title race at the moment at the top?
Well, it's going to go right to the wire. I mean, you've still got to fancy United just that little bit because they've got the game in hand. But Arsenal will keep going. It's a big week, big Wednesday, isn't it? And we might know a little bit more of them. But you couldn't really call. I wouldn't like to call anything, but with that game in hand, I just fancy United.
Jim Hardlock, thanks very much.
Thank you, George.
Tis a big Wednesday. One more time, remember we are live at Anfield as Liverpool play Manchester United on the same night that Arsenal go to Tottenham, and we'll have highlights from that game as well. That's this coming Wednesday. Here's the disallowed goal, which has upset Jim Smith, but if he's watching now, he'll see, I think, that, well, certainly from the other angle, there's no dispute about it, Frank, is there?
No, there isn't, but I would imagine...
But all the arms go up as well.
From where Jim Smith, he might not have seen that, you know, because Seaman's arms were going up as well. But he certainly handled it. David Seaman got away with a bit of bad judgment there.
He thought he could have had a penalty as well,
yeah,
but for the intervention of Tony Adams. It was a magnificent tackle here.
Yep.
Is there a case?
I can't see him yet. There's a great overhead kick with Tony Adams, but...
There's no penalty there, is there?
I don't think so, no. I like Jim very much, but I'm not going to agree with you there, Jim.
And that's the competitor in Frank McClintock anyway. All right, into the First Division. Birmingham and Ipswich at St Andrews today. A point or more for Ipswich would give them second place. Could they get it? Our match commentators Alan Brazil and Rob Hawthorne.
Tatis. Venus. Scowcroft. Mowbray, and there's Scowcroft, and it's cleared off the line. Unless they win here today, Ipswich will have to rely on a favour from Wolves, who at least will be having an issue of their own to battle for. This is Hughes. Good break from Hughes. What a run! What a run! And Furlong completes it, but goes straight to congratulate Brian Hughes after an immense run. And cleared off the line from Scowcroft's header. It was Robinson who got the ball off the line. He was the man on the post. Rout. There's suddenly space for him to step into. And he has played it through to Bradbury, who emerges from the challenge with Mowbray. And this time it's Adebola. And Rowett was waiting as the ball flashed across in front of him. Robinson. Laid off by Johnson. And Johnson curls one! Mowbray's cross, Holland. And Poole lets it go, but gets there before Stockwell can.
And it'll go to the final day. Sunderland, of course, are up. Bradford in second place with 84 points. They go to Wolves on the final day. Ipswich in third with 83 points. They're at home against Sheffield United. Birmingham in fourth place. Watford in fifth right now. Bolton in sixth. Wolves, of course, can get one of those playoff places if they can pick up the win against Bradford. So that really couldn't be tighter. Sheffield United are out of it now, but it's 4 from 5, still very much involved for the playoff places. 1 from 2 for the second automatic promotion place. And of course, the climax we will see live on Sky Sports. A great part of the season, isn't it? It really is.
Very exciting.
If you're going well, horrible if you're at the wrong end.
If you're down at the bottom end, you cut your throat, wouldn't you? Really is tough, but at the top end of both divisions, it's superb.
Where will you be Wednesday night? Fingers crossed.
Wednesday night, I might go to Tottenham actually. I might go over and see George.
You get a warm reception there.
I'll sit next to George in the director's box.
See what you can do.
Put the voodoo on him.
We've enjoyed your company. Thanks,
Thank you.
Frank.
Thanks, Richard.
Really appreciate it. Frank McClintock. Right, now on Sky Sports 3, it's Celtic against Rangers. If Rangers win that, they win the championship. If Celtic win that, well, on it goes. And of course, we'll follow it on Sky Sports. But right now, over on Sky Sports 3, it's Celtic against Rangers. There's live football tomorrow at the Valley. Arsenal against Southampton. That's the Women's FA Cup final. The Gunners against the Saints tomorrow, 2 o'clock on Sky Sports 1. The whole of the game live from the Valley. And then how about that? The bottom 2 in the Scottish Premier League right now. Dunfermline are bottom, 4 points adrift of Hearts. A win there and it will get very, very tight. Obviously, that's tomorrow night, 5 o'clock on Sky Sports 1. That's all about survival in the Scottish Premier. And on Wednesday night, well, we're off to Anfield to see if Manchester United can get what they will want, and that is 3 points from Liverpool. Chelsea and Arsenal are also playing that night. We'll be across the lot, of course. That's Wednesday night, 7 o'clock. Our live game comes from Anfield. It's Liverpool against Manchester United. But Arsenal knew the size of the task here. They had to win it to go back on top, and they have. We'll see you Wednesday night. From all of us at Highbury, it's goodbye for now.
You're just too good to be true. Can't take my eyes off you. You'd be like heaven to touch. I wanna hold you so much. At long last, love has arrived, and I thank God I'm alive. You're just too good to